How you doing, everyone? Welcome to this midterm election coverage with your friend, the Cajun Conservative. We are live now. We are at the Bridge Fellowship Church here in Brooklyn Bridge at the party of Rodney Chitwood, candidate for police chief. We're going to go ahead and be covering that election. Also, a lot of other elections that are going on tonight. We got some guests lined up, and if you see me looking at my phone, forgive me because we got C3 coming on at 8 o'clock. We got Mr. Escobar coming on at 7:30, and we got a few others. Probably gonna try to get Rodney Chitwood. You are good to be here, by the way, because if I actually get Rodney, you can tell me this. Producer LB's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. We are live and covering the midterm. Let's see what's going on right now as we go to the screen right here. Let me go ahead and get this. Yeah. All right. So the way it's looking right now, there's 5 plus Republican seats that are up. We have Rubio that just has been called in Florida. Scott has won in South Carolina. Florida has turned red. Let's go check on what's going on in Florida. Let me go ahead to the states right here. We also are getting our information from Fox News and ATC3. So let's go check on what's going on in the state of Florida. If I can find Florida. There we go. This is live, ladies and gentlemen. No edits, I promise you. This is live right now. And we have Ron DeSantis has been called in the state of Florida. So Florida, you have your governor. It is Ron DeSantis for another 4 years. Chris only got 42% at this time. They're 71% in. Marco Rubio also has been called for that Senate race. So Marco Rubio is back in the Senate. In the congressional races, Wills is the only one that has been called. He has 47%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember, this election is important. We are looking at, the votes right now going on in the state of Florida. But this is a very important election, ladies and gentlemen. This is to stop the Biden regime. This is to stop everything that what Biden has done. And ladies and gentlemen, the only way to do that if we get Republicans in, we have a lot of polls closed like Florida. Now we're going to go ahead and go to the state of Georgia. A lot of people are wondering about the state of Georgia, which is a highly contested race. We have a lot of waiting on Pennsylvania to go ahead and to close their polls. So we see how Mehmet Oz and John Fetterman is going to be doing. Let's go ahead and find the state of Georgia. Check out now, Brian Kemp. Stacey Abrams is leading over Brian Kemp. We're going to have 14% of the vote reported in. She is winning 54-85 at the moment. But as you can see, if you look at the mouse right here, we have a lot of areas that have not been reported yet. Also, Warnock is having a commanding lead over Walker at the moment. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we just don't know. It's just 24%. It has not been called by Fox News. And Warnock has really got this area right here, the blue. That's where he's getting the majority of his votes. But a lot of these areas are red. These are leaning red. So we're going to keep on watching this right here. Let's go ahead and look at a few others. Let's look at the state of Louisiana. Just because I'm from Louisiana, I want to go ahead and check it out. See how we're going here. We have a lot of good local races. Louisiana is not close. Oh, so it's closed at 8 o'clock here at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. If I'm messing up, please forgive me because I want to make sure this is my first time doing this. We got Mr. Braylon Menard checking in. Hey, brother, how you doing? Braylon, how you doing, my brother? Continue watching the show for the election results. Please like and share. So let's go ahead and check that too. I also got that going on. Yeah, let's like and share, ladies and gentlemen. Share the podcast, share the YouTube videos, share the Facebook page. As we start going on right here, we're going to go back to the main page for Fox News, and as the things load up, and we can just talk about the Senate is a toss-up, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know what's going to happen in the Senate race. It's showing right now +3 for the Republicans. Now it went up to +5, 34 Republicans. And the congressional races, we already got 14 Republicans up, 7. It is pretty obvious that the Republicans are going to take over the House. How many seats is the answer? How many seats are the Republican Party is going to grab in the House seats going on? So we have a lot of, like I said, a lot of reasons. Let's go check out the state of Ohio. Well, let's just go to the Senate race right here. Let's see what's going on. As I said, I am not professional, ladies and gentlemen. So Alaska still has not reported in. Colorado, that is so polls close at 8 o'clock our time here in Louisiana. It is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Colorado is going to go ahead and close their polls. And ladies and gentlemen, we have Michael Bennett is the incumbent for that, but Joe O'Dea is really close in that race. That is a toss-up. We're gonna have to look into that as well. Connecticut has not closed. We already called Marco Rubio has won according to Fox News. We have 73% of the poll in, and Marco Rubio has 55%. And we knew that was going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Also, just to remind you, please, if you have a question or you want to leave a comment on YouTube or on Facebook, go ahead. I see all the comments. We'll put it on the screen. As we mentioned, Georgia. This is surprising. We only got 24% of the vote in, but Ralph Warnock is beating Herschel Walker in Georgia. I thought that was going to be real quick for Herschel Walker. But that race has been tight, ladies and gentlemen. Real tight. We still trying to figure out, if it was a toss-up or what. But Georgia is a tight race, but only 24% coming in. You have to see how it goes. New Hampshire was also won. Donald Bullock is the Republican running against Maggie Henson. That race was only 11% in. That was also a toss-up. They had a lot of races tossing up. We also got a lot of races that have not closed. Nevada, I'm seeing right here, their polls are still closed. We're going to probably be open. We're going to be on the air at that time. Pennsylvania just closed, ladies and gentlemen. 3.71% is in. Featherman is leading, but that's early, so don't get upset right now. It is still early on in that race. So Pennsylvania just closed. South Carolina has gone to Tim Scott, and Washington. I'm waiting to see Washington, ladies and gentlemen. We're probably not going to be on the air at that time, but Washington all of a sudden became a toss-up. So we're going to go ahead and see that. And Wisconsin. So those are the polls that are in right now for the Senate side. The House, we can go ahead and get the House up. There we go. 16 Republicans have won, 9 Democrats. This is what we call Florida, Virginia. A lot of Florida, Pennsylvania. Some Pennsylvania races have been called already. So, like I said, the House, ladies and gentlemen, is 9 out of 10 going to go Republican tonight. So, but very important election, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very important election. There we go. We're just gonna have to just wait and see. That's what I wanted to go check. Let me just see. Let me add this back to the scoop. All right, so let's go ahead and check out Ohio. I'm surprised I didn't see Ohio. Okay, so Tim Ryan is beating J.D. Vance with 10% of the vote in. I'm going to go look at the state. Let's see how the state is doing. Because like I said, only 10%. That is not a lot to go on. Republicans only need 51 seats. Only 51 seats to take over the Senate. Will it happen? Hopefully tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because especially if John Featherman wins in Pennsylvania against Amendment odds, that is a blow to the Republican Party because that seat it was filled by Republicans, and now it's the Republican. He retired, so now we're gonna go ahead and see if we can still hold that. But J.D. Vance is raising up. It's 59% to 40%, and that race is really too close to call. When the races get called, if I see him, I will go ahead and announce it. Also, you have to realize, too, we have breaking news. We are using Fox News. So let's just see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a real good. There are 28 seats still left to play. I'm used to pre-recorded. See, LB and my wife is here with us at the party, and they're making fun of me. Hey, at least I said I apologize in advance. I'm not the greatest. Nobody wants my apology. My wife says. Indiana. Let's go check out Scott Ford's. Let's go check out Scott Ford's state. What's going on in Indiana? Illinois. Well, I'm glad you're talking about. No, he lives in Indiana. He works in Illinois. But talking about Illinois, though, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to bring this out. Pennsylvania did have some problems in Philadelphia with their voting equipment. They had some stuff that went on today. They lost the World Series.
The World Series and
They did all that today too. Anyway, John wants. Okay, let me read this. John, welcome into the live stream. But no, so yeah, Pennsylvania had some issues. I think with some voting issues today. No, it was the vote. It was they changed the way they are going to count votes, which would make it last longer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, bringing on the point right here, the Democrat Party has already said they are going to. It's going to take days and days to find out who won that Senate race. Just giving you a heads up on that. It's going to take a little while, but the voting commission went ahead and Philadelphia went ahead and brought out how they said. I'm trying to remember how the article read. It was they voted that they had to make sure they wasn't double ballots and all, but it's going to make the counting a lot longer. So apparently we had a couple of House seats, and that is Banks. Banks won in District 3. What is? I guess this is the Senate. Young beat the Democrat McDermott 62%, and only 19% of the votes in. So they called that for Indiana. So Indiana is staying red, but the third district was the Banks. So, and we don't have no local elections yet going on, but a lot of things are happening at the South. The state of Florida, like I said, Florida went to Marco Rubio. He won it. Wrong button. Say again? Yes, that happens 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 10 o'clock my time. Huh? Yeah, it is tonight. I don't think she's going to get voted out, but there are already rumors of if she's going to stay in Congress if she won't. Because she said her husband's attack was also a factor into the decision for that. So we're going to have to see what happens with Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi might not be in Congress after this election. By one way, I don't see her losing. She's been there since she's been in diapers. Since the dawn of evolution. So, Danny Lee Holmes, thank you for watching, Danny. Danny, and you also quoted, "I'm glad you're doing this. This was a great." I was just wondering how the election was going. It is rocky right now, to be honest with you. A lot of the races that I thought would come out swinging. Yes, ma'am. I thought a lot of the races that would come out swinging for the Republicans. But Warnock is getting a big blue district right now. That's why he got a bump in number, and it's way too close to call. So the next polls will close in 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, according to Fox News. We were going to Florida, correct? What time? Let's see, 7:15. You know what? Before Iggy comes on, what? Ask Brother Rodney if you'd like to comment talk a little bit on the watch. So I'm going to share this with you. So, all right. So let's go back to Florida. Marco Rubio has won. Ron DeSantis, ladies and gentlemen, Frost has won the 10th district of the House of Representatives. Matt Guys, the incumbent, is probably going to win that. It's at 3%. It has been confirmed. Ron DeSantis has won governor of the state of Florida. So let's go ahead and look at some more states. Alabama, I think, closes in a few minutes. I'll try to look. Kentucky has closed their polls. Let's check out Kentucky and see what's going on in Kentucky. Kentucky was not a swing state, but Rand Paul has beat Booker 51%. They have called that for the state of Kentucky, and also the 6th district of Kentucky has been called for Barr. And the governor is still in play. He is still he's not, he don't have to run until 2023. At the same time, Louisiana's governor is. Okay. We're probably going to be getting Rodney Chitwood to come on and talk with us for a few seconds, just to talk about his election tonight. And then we're going to be waiting on Mr. Esteban to come on from West Virginia. He's going to be coming on around 7:30. And let's see what's going on in Virginia. So Rand Paul has got another term as senator. And look, Rand Paul is one of the best, ladies and gentlemen. He's more on the libertarian side, but he is good for America. He has done great things for us. Go ahead and look at the Senate races. Yes, ma'am. So let's go ahead and check this out. Well, let's go ahead and look at the House. Let's see what's going on in the House seats. Because the House is very important, ladies and gentlemen. We need 218 House seats to win. We already got calls in a few of them. I'll look at a few. I think I heard, and Josh, if you, well, the guys from C3 are watching. I believe Marjorie Taylor Greene won in Georgia. Let's go ahead and check that out. I'll be. State of Georgia. So that race has been tight. It's 30% in. It's 54% Warnock, 43% for Walker. And ladies and gentlemen, just a note right here. Just a note. Fulton County has not come. They have 75% in for Warnock. That's where Warnock's going to get a lot of his numbers. Walker has to get a lot of his turnout for for him to win this race. So Warren County, they gave that to him. He has 51%. I don't know. I'm busy. But let's go ahead and see. I want to look at all the races for House Representative. Let's see. All right. What? Okay. No, so Georgia 5 and Georgia 13 went Democrat. Oh, I can see it right here. Okay. LB, look up and see where Marjorie Taylor Greene is running. Marjorie Taylor Greene, is it in Georgia? Anyone in the comments know about it, go ahead and check it out. All right, 7:20, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the halfway of our first hour going into tonight. It's going to be, hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, it will be a good night. It'll be a good night for the Republicans. Hopefully for a red wave. On the governor's race in Georgia, Kemp is losing at the moment with 31% in. Fox News has not called that race. And we're also waiting on this. If you're watching for local elections, also on the Cajun Conservatives Facebook page or YouTube page, we will be covering Louisiana's local races, especially the chief of police race here in Breaux Bridge and many other races. Josh Kennedy's up, Clay Higgins is up, and they're running for their positions today. So we're going to go ahead and see how that works out right there. So let's go ahead and just talk about, a little bit tonight. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, 51 is the magic number. 51 votes in the Senate would do wonders for this country. And we know we still got some polls out there. We still got some polling places open. At the moment, there's 408. Well, 400. They keep pumping. That number is going down, but right now there's 400 House seats left in play. 22 Republican, 13 Democrat. There's 28 seats left in the Senate that has that's in play. Right now, Fox is saying Republicans +5, Democrats +2. Now that is just the regular going to the 51 needed to take over the Senate. And I heard Dan Bongino earlier say that today, that we need to take over just not the Senate, or just not the House, and leave the Senate. The Senate approves judges. They do certain things that the House cannot do. So to take over both would be a blessing, ladies and gentlemen. It would stop Biden. Now, the dagger in the room would be that Biden could go ahead and stop a lot of what the Republicans want to do through veto. So we're going to have to see how that works right there. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and take a break. We'll be right back after this short break right here. All right, guys, I am with Rodney Chitwood. We went ahead and pulled him before Mr. Esteban comes on and talks about the races in Virginia. How you feeling, man?
Um, Nervous and confident.
Nervous and confident. Huh? How you can be both? Maybe like right now, I'm confident, but I'm nervous about all this.
Well, that's just it. I mean, anytime you're putting your fate in other people's hands, even if it's somebody you truly love and admire and adore, you're not in control of it.
Right.
And so, right now I've done everything I possibly could do, knocking on doors, talking to people, going to all the places I could go to get my message out. And now it's in the hands of the voters to decide who they feel is best for the issue.
So I called you earlier. I actually got butterflies. You say you riding your bike with a sign. How did people react to that, man? Last minute campaigning.
It was pretty good. I got up this morning and I went down to one of the busy intersections. With me and my grandson, we were holding signs, greeting people going to work. Then I went back home. We went and had breakfast, went home, and I was like, riding a motorcycle calms me. It's a stress relief. But I knew I still wanted to be out in front of people. So I took some of my campaign signs, I put one on the windshield, got one on the back of the bike, and rode around town all day.
Have fun. We have Braylon Menard telling you how you doing. So he asks how you doing.
Hey, Braylon, doing great, man. I appreciate it.
So we have polls close in 30 minutes over here.
Yeah.
I got the election results going to be coming in as we're doing live and stuff. What did you just say to the last minute voters that, oh no, we forgot we have to go vote and they want to vote for you?
Hey, go vote. And yeah, I think I am the best choice candidate out there for Blue Bridge. Being somebody that been in the area since 1982, but I've traveled a lot, picked up a lot of good experiences around the world, and I can bring some of the best practices I've learned to Blue Bridge as police chief. But more importantly, we live in a great country where you can exercise your right to vote. And this right, we almost lost in Blue Bridge. It was up for a vote in February that the chief position would be appointed. And I'm a firm believer in the Constitution, and people ought to be able to have a say in their leadership. And so, don't take that for granted. Get out there. You got 30 minutes.
You got 30 minutes
to jump in there. The town's small. You can get there in enough time.
So, what time are you gonna vote today? Let's actually. I went at 6 a.m. So.
I early voted.
Okay.
Yeah,
you really went early.
Last Tuesday. Last Tuesday.
I hear you. So, on the last question before we get to Mr. Escobar. What about the people around here, the support that's coming out for you tonight at your party?
It's been phenomenal. I know the people love me, and I thank them for their support. And even today, I was passing through downtown, and somebody flagged me down. And I had done some business with this person. And he said, I ended up voting for you.
Oh, wow.
Because when you were in here doing business, somebody recognized you and you mentioned you were running, but you didn't turn it into a campaign.
Wow.
And this was, we were helping the fire victims.
Yep.
And so my focus was on helping them, not my campaign. And he said that impressed me, that you weren't being a politician, you had a heart for people.
Amen. Well, we wish you good luck.
I appreciate it.
We're going to get you later on. Hopefully, some good
at 8
news.
o'clock, I'll be back.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was Rodney Chitwood, candidate for police chief of Breaux Bridge. He invited us to come here to his hopefully victory party. So I see Mr. Escobar is in the house. Iggy, what's going on?
What's up, brother? Isaac, man. This is the start of the red tsunami.
Yes, sir. Well, we have the results coming in.
Yes.
Warnock is up right now. We have a few others that like Kemp is losing right now, but it's still too early to call, man. And I'm hoping that we could go ahead and get it done.
They just called Indiana. Todd Young, the senator, he's the incumbent. He just CNN called him. So
CNN called. I think Fox just called that a few minutes ago as well. Iggy, I don't know if you can see the screen, but you see how we got the map up and everything like that. So far, 27 Republicans to 15 Democrats. We need 218 to keep the majority, to get the majority of the House.
Yes.
And there's still over 390 seats to go. What do you see like that, my brother, right now going on?
Yeah, I was looking here in Virginia. It's like a bellwether where I'm at in the 7th district. You have Abigail Sandberger. She's been here for 2 terms already, and she was struggling big time with Vega, and looks like she's down by 10 points with almost 80% in. That's a huge pickup. We only need 5 to pick up to take over the House. That's going to be a nice pickup right there. What's going on? So, and you also see it in other areas in Virginia. Looks like the Republicans are going to maybe pick up 3 seats just in Virginia alone.
Wow, and see, that's what a lot of people say. Well, how can you consider this a red wave? You said 5 seats alone in just Virginia, or 3 seats alone, 3 seats.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge. I see us picking up like back in '94. I don't know if it's going to be 2010 with a Tea Party revolution, but I think definitely we'll pick up 40 or 50 seats like in '94 with the Gingrich revolution. So I definitely see us picking up those seats in the House because there are seats dropping, which were strongly Democratic, but they're not going. They're going red this time. Especially Virginia's becoming a nice red state. I mean, last year we voted for the governor, haven't had a Republican governor over 10 years, and Youngkin won.
So, yeah, and we look it up. I got the results right here.
Yeah.
Scott won your 3rd district, but like you said, District 6 and District 9 has gone Republican, and just not by small margins, it's going by wide margins right now. So
yeah, look at the 7th district too with Sandberger. I mean, that would be a huge upset right there. Vega, I voted for Vega. A lot of people here voted, and we'll see. And look at the governor races. You saw DeSantis won.
Yeah,
already.
DeSantis got called. Yeah.
Yeah, Marco Rubio, right?
And we kind of knew, like, the media was trying to show that, hey, this is going to be a tight race.
No.
And I was like, no, DeSantis blew Chris out the water.
Didn't I say that on your show in April that DeSantis was going to crush? Yeah, Joe Biden, one and done. Great little book there. And a lot of these predictions I made in April, remember we talked about, are coming to fruition right now, which is nice to see. The Senate is going to be tight, but we only need 1 pickup, and we'll see. I see it's getting tighter now with Herschel Walker and Ralph Warnick. They're getting some numbers in from CNN. It's tightening up a little bit, so that's a good sign.
I'm using Fox News, but we can go ahead. Let's go look at Georgia because that's one of the highly contested races.
Yeah.
We can also talk about Pennsylvania, but
Dr. Oz. Yeah.
It's Brian Kemp and Stacey Abrams neck and neck right now at 49%.
Yes.
And Warnock is up 8%, but like you said, it is tightening right now. So give about 7%, and we only got 35% of the vote in. To be honest with you, I thought Walker was going to come up with a big lead, but Warnock has got the big lead, and now it's kind of shortening down as we talk at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of the early votes were the first counted ones, and today's votes now are start being counted. And a lot of times Republicans like to vote the day of. So you're going to see a big surge. This is a big surge. This is a big moment. It's going to really, what's historically this means? That means it's going to be a nightmare. Like I said in my book, he'll be a lame duck president for the next 2 years. He'll get nothing done.
And that's why we need the Senate as well. Because, earlier in this year, Iggy, they were talking about how, well, we can get the House. We can stop them. You just don't need the House. You need the Senate as well.
The Senate's good, and
stop everything.
And we're getting a lot of the governorships, which don't be surprised if in New York, I was looking at the numbers here, the incumbent Kathy Hochul loses to Lee Zeldin in New York in the governor's race. That's one to look at.
Let's go look at. I'm going to the governor. I forgot about you talking about New York.
That'd be a huge upset. That's going to be a huge upset to look into. So those are some interesting races to look in right there. The governorship, but the Republicans are doing very good getting Republican seats.
We got breaking news a few minutes ago. Sarah Huckabee Sanders has already been called the winner of Arkansas. So she's following in her dad's footsteps. She's going to be the governor-elect of the state of Arkansas.
That's great. That's a great story.
Now Arizona closes in 2 hours. That Kerry Lake and Kathy Hobbs, That's going to be a good race as well. You talking about governorships?
How about Mark Kelly in Arizona with Blake Masters?
That's going
Watch
to be
out
a
for
tight
that
race.
upset.
That's
Watch out
gonna
for
be a
that
tight
upset.
race.
The incumbent Kelly, who's an astronaut, he can go down. Arizona used to be very red, so don't be surprised that one goes back red again. So that's what I'm saying. We pick up that seat and we held everything else. That's it. They take the Senate just like that. Watch out for that kind of race.
Yeah, like you said, this also Nevada's in play.
Yes.
You got which I want to ask your opinion on that. I don't know if you've followed Washington State, 2 states above California, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a toss-up for the Senate seat, and I'm like, you serious?
And Oregon too, very liberal.
Yes, Oregon came up today. Colorado,
yes. Colorado's up to all these states are blue are up. So people are really tired of the failed policies of the high inflation, right? The
Right.
high crime. You didn't finish building the wall. The economy isn't problems here. His faculties are an issue. His health is an issue. Poor, foreign policy decision. So all that's in play, and this is Isaac a referendum on him, on Joe Biden.
That's the only way you can put it is what has Joe Biden has done. They didn't even ask him on the campaign trail.
No.
All they, and he got mad at a reporter when they asked him. He's like, "Oh, I've been asked 15 times." I'm like, "Well, Barack Obama's doing 3 rallies a day.
A day.
And he can't even do 1 a day. He only does maybe 1 speech at a time.
Because the poor guy is exhausted. He can't handle it anymore. And after this shellacking that they're going to take tonight, I'll be surprised that he finishes his term with his health issues.
So that's what I thought. Somebody asked me that the other day, and it goes back to what Rush Limbaugh said. Yeah. Rush Limbaugh said in one of his programs that always stuck to me. He says if he stays 2 years, and he gets out, well, Kamala Harris will finish his term, but that won't be considered her term. That'll be considered finishing his term. So Kamala can run twice again.
Yes, he can.
And you wonder, is that the idea for the Democratic Party? Are they looking for that right now?
I think she gets crushed. I think Kamala has no chance.
No, she don't have no chance whatsoever.
She has no chance. She is worse than him. You just think of her background and her experiences. Was she Attorney General of California? Great, and not even a full-term senator out of out of California. No, she doesn't have the experience. That should be a disaster. And look how many gaps she's had. I mean, look at her in the trail and stuff she says.
And so you think about it, she hasn't. I don't. Well, she campaigned for Kathy Hochul, I believe, from New York. And that was the only time I heard her say anything about that.
He tried to give her how to handle illegal immigration, right?
She
dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, she dropped anything.
She hasn't done anything. The biggest thing they need to do, in my opinion, is you got to finish the wall, right?
Yeah.
Finish the wall. You got to get rid of the sanctuary cities, and you got to get rid of all the underground tunnels in our country from Mexico coming here with all the drugs, illegals, everything else bad coming in our country. You've got to secure our country.
And let's say this, Iggy, because some people might be saying, well, how do you know about that? How do you know that? Mr. Escobar, you're just a normal person. Tell me a little bit about your background, because you wrote books on this. You were part of a government agency that investigated this.
I just retired last year from federal law enforcement, 26 years, 21 with ATF and 5 with the United States Customs Service, right? When it was part of Department of Treasury in the 90s. And a lot of that stuff, you don't have to be an expert like myself, and go through intel briefings. I was also in ATF headquarters recently for 2 years. All that stuff. You can look at these pictures, and all these tunnels have been discovered underward. And you can look, these tunnels have been around for years. That's smuggling routes. This is nothing new. All that stuff's out there. If you want to take a look at that, I've written since last time we spoke, Isaac, over 50 books. In fact, I wrote a book saying how I wrote and published 50 books in 1 year. So, and it's all from fiction, nonfiction. I did political book also. Joe Biden, One and Done, which we talked about, which you saw, and I think you called me on your show. Oh, that's good. Is that your son?
Yes, that's my little boy. So we had a campaign party. The guy that was before that was Rodney Chitwood. He is running for chief of police, and he went ahead and invited us to his campaign party tonight. So
that's where you're at, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's awesome.
And look, I know we're gonna get back to your books in a second, but Iggy, I'm getting fat over here, fatter than what I am because I just had crawfish etouffee. We had jambalaya, man.
Oh man, you're having a good time.
Yeah.
That's the way to win. Your guy wins, and you guys eat well, man. Life is
Yes.
good.
I hope. I hope. So let's get back to your book. Okay, so you wrote 50 books in 1 year. You came on the show for one and done presidency. You talking about Joe Biden.
Yes.
And you know, because you're talking about this, people might be saying, "Well, hold on, how does he know?" And you get the books from Amazon. You know how he knows this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You go on Amazon, you'll see my books, you'll see my name there, Ignacio Esteban. Imagine you'll see a link there. You can see me on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I've written quite extensively. They've called me very prolific. And if you want to go on YouTube or Rumble, just type in my name, and you can see all my shows I've done. Believe it or not, since with you, almost like 30 shows. I think I forwarded you quite a few of them, right?
Yeah, you sent me a few of them, and I've checked them out. And you're getting out there, my brother, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing to let people know what's going on. So,
and it's not just politics. If you like true crime, obviously my background, I talk a lot about organized crime in this country, from the Italian mafia to the one percenters, which are the violent biker gangs, to drug cartels, to street gangs, to the prison gangs. So if you and do, like I said, political books. We do the situation going on with Putin and Russia, like we talked about. Are we going to World War III? Is he going to do tactical nuclear strikes on us? Is the president ready to respond to some of this? Are we ready for this?
Well, I think when bad times happen, the American people pull together. That is obvious.
Yes.
But like you said, though, is our leadership, just not the president, it's everybody. Do you really think Nancy Pelosi take over the presidency if something would happen? Nancy Pelosi, not Nancy Pelosi, VP Harris.
Harris, yeah.
She isn't ready to go ahead and take over anything that is going on.
No, not at all. That's a weak ticket, and that's why this is a good first step for 2024. And I said it before. I think Ron DeSantis, with this result and what he did with COVID, he stood up with the woke culture, right?
Right.
He looks good. I think he will crush if Biden ran. Like I said, like last time I told you, I think he's like Jimmy Carter, right? One and done, and a strong Republican from a big state like Florida, like Reagan did to Carter. DeSantis can do to Biden, and he may not even finish. Like I said, he might be an LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, and he said, "I won't seek another term because I'm done."
So since you're bringing that out, you bring out DeSantis, which my audience knows that if Trump would win the nomination, I'll vote for him.
Right.
But in the primaries, I'm more leaning towards DeSantis. I like DeSantis.
Oh, I am.
He's a younger guy. But President Trump went ahead and gave him a nickname, which I think is horrible. The Sanctimonious.
Yeah, I saw that.
Now, and look, it's very early. I don't think they should be giving jabs. I don't think, because let's look at the scenario if Ron DeSantis doesn't win, if he goes and runs in 2024, and Trump is leaning very heavily on running in 2024. Ron DeSantis could be a good VP pick. Why the heck attack him right now? And look, I don't bash Trump too much, but I give Trump an F.
That's his style, man. That's all he knows how to do. He's just attack style. He just likes to go for. That's his New York race. That's the way he was in New York, right? You just go after people. You're challenging me. I'm just going to go, face forward like he did Little Marco, lying right. Ted, Crazy Nancy. I mean, that's his MO. That's his MO. That's what he does. I don't like it. But that's why I didn't vote for the guy. But I do think it's time. Do we want another 80-year-old in the White House?
No.
I don't think we do. I think DeSantis is my age. I think he's looking good. I think it's time for a new generation. And I think let's go forward, man.
Yeah, and look, let's just put Ron DeSantis on the side. You got Ted Cruz. You got Paul Ryan. You got
Marco Rubio.
Marco Rubio, not Paul Ryan. He won Kentucky. Rand Paul. Yeah, so you have a lot of good Republicans coming up. So,
Nikki Haley.
We mentioned a while ago, Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Yes.
So you have a lot of good. Look, Carrie Lake. I know she promised to be there for 8 years, but Carrie Lake would make a good president as well.
And don't forget the governor from South Dakota.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So let's talk about a couple of key races right now.
All right.
Ryan in Ohio is beating JD Vance by 9.71%. Featherman is beating Dr. Oz right now, 58%. They must not have a lot of votes coming out. We were just talking a while ago, Iggy, about Warnock and Hershon Walker shrinking.
Yes.
His lead went from 8 to 3%.
Nice. I'm telling you, he might pull it off. He might pull it off.
To be honest with you, I think Hershon Walker will pull it off because, you know, they attacked him for his abortion stance or his alleged abortion that he told his girlfriends to do. But people ain't really worried about that. They're more worried about crime. They're more worried about inflation. And Warnock, I don't care what he says, he has his hand in it because he voted for everything Joe Biden has put down the line.
Yeah, he's a liberal leftist. Remember, he even went to see Fidel Castro in the 90s when he came to New York at a church, and he went to pay for that. Who in the right mind is going to see Fidel Castro, a communist dictator that guy is, and destroyed Cuba?
Right.
Yeah, so he's a leftist socialist communist. Hopefully, Herschel Walker, he's a hero. Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, played in the Dallas Cowboys. Very sharp guy also. He stands for the right things, and I hope he takes them out. We don't want a communist in there anyway.
No, we don't want that. So let's talk about Featherman. Let's talk about Mehmet Oz.
It's Dr. Oz, man. Trying to pull the upset there. I saw the numbers. It appears, looking here on CNN, that the early voting numbers coming in right now in Pennsylvania. But one thing you have to be careful too. Philadelphia, there's always shenanigans, right?
Right.
So let's see how it goes in Philadelphia. They're already talking about some stuff in Philadelphia, so we got to watch that.
Yeah,
and Barack Obama hit Philly hard. Remember that.
And we reported earlier that they changed the rules this morning. Yes. And, a lot of people, deja vu, that's what majority they did in 2020. They changed rules that benefited the Democrat Party and not the Republican Party.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting in Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania, because of Philadelphia, it's going to be a late call. A late one.
So right now, Pennsylvania only has 8% in reporting.
That's low.
And it is. But in Pennsylvania, normally does take slow to count their votes. So we're gonna have to see what happens right there. Let's go ahead and check out. Nevada isn't closed yet. North Carolina is coming in, and Ted Budd is losing to Cherry Basley. Right now, 52% in, and it's 50 to 40.
That's tight. That's good.
That is a tight race, and that is, a lot of people might say that, well, a tight race, your guy's losing, but a tight race is a very good sign, especially for an administration that messed up as much as the Democrat Party did.
Yeah, and remember, these tight races means you're not counting today's vote, and a lot of Democrats vote early. So
right.
Those are all good signs, very, very good signs there. And it's interesting too, watching a lot of the governor's races too. It's going to be very, very Republican. Sununu, the son of a governor from New Hampshire, I think he's going to end up winning also. Talk about another legacy. So
right,
that's very cool.
Well, didn't New Hampshire go up to a toss-up seat a while back? I believe it did. Huh?
What's that, Isaac?
New Hampshire, did it go up to a toss-up seat for the Senate as well?
Yeah, no, I think it's in play also. So we've got a lot of places that are in play that normally are not in play because like I said, this is a referendum on Joe Biden. If he wasn't such an awful president, normally an average, you're saying they may lose like 15, 20 seats. They're going to lose at least in the 40s. I think 94 numbers. And if we get 2010 numbers, wow, that is our true red tsunami.
Because poor Barack Obama didn't know what hit him in 2010. So.
And Biden was the VP, so he knows how that feels. He knows how that feels.
So for the Senate right now, New Hampshire, Maggie Hansen is winning big at 60%, and Donald Bola at 40%. That was a long shot, New Hampshire. A lot of people was thinking that New Hampshire could flip. But you only got 15% of the vote in, too.
Yes, it's early. It's early there.
Very early.
Yeah, and CNN was just talking about the Senate race out of Arizona. That's going to be a tight race with Kelly versus Masters. So watch out for that one. That's going to be one. We just need one. Hold and just gain one. So that's a big game changer.
So before we clock off right here for the break, and we go ahead and let you go for the night,
Yeah,
Well,
man.
hey, look, let me say it like this. I got somebody from 8 to 9, but if you want to come on after 9, I'll text you, let you know if you up, you know.
All right. All right.
But Iggy, let's talk about it. You saying this, we just need one. Now, of course, if Pennsylvania flops, it goes back to 50-50.
Yes.
Do you see Georgia being that flip seat, or do you look towards Nevada and Arizona?
I do. I do. I definitely like Arizona, what I'm seeing there. And this very, very reassuring seeing that Herschel Walker is making good. I think he can pull it off. That'll be a big win in Georgia. So watch out for those. But the House is going to be a major blowout. And
Right.
people are already seeing it here. Virginia, look at that major gain that we have here in Virginia. That's a nice win. To see Sandberger gone, wow, that's nice. It feels good to see that because I voted for Vega, and to see her win like that, her first time there, former law enforcement, nice background, very conservative, very pro-life. I think that's a good thing, right?
So, Iggy, predictions for tonight. How many seats do you see the Senate winning? I know you say one, so we hope for that one. But how many?
One.
Do you
Let's get
see?
one. If we get one or two, that'd be fantastic. I hate us to see lose any, but it's sometimes a little tricky in the Senate. But things are looking good for that. But the House, I see it at least 45 plus
45 plus.
in the House, at least.
And like you say, that'll be a big number. Right now, 35 Republicans are projected to win the Senate. Well, right now 35-39, and Fox News is saying +3 for the Democrats, +6 for the Republicans. So I don't know if that's projections or whatnot. So got to see what happens.
Yeah, brother.
So, well, Iggy, I want to thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for coming on tonight. And like I said, later on tonight, I'll get with you. We'll see what we can do, man.
Sounds good. All right, Isaac. Enjoy. Take care,
You
brother.
too, brother.
Bye.
So that was Mr. Esteban. He is an author of 50 books. You can find it on YouTube. We're gonna have to try to throw a link. I think I got it. I don't know if I have a link up. I'm gonna have to go find a link during the break. But while we're doing that, we're gonna go ahead and take a break for the moment right now. You are listening to the Cajun Conservative Show on the Facebook Live, YouTube Live. We'll be coming up with C3 in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen. 7 minutes. Hope them guys are ready. We're going to be talking politics with Culper's Canteen Cup. We'll see you in a minute. All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Election coverage, 2022, the midterms. And look, we got someone on already. I'm going to go ahead and add him on. First of C3 tonight, Luke. What's going on, my brother? What's happening?
How's it going, Isaac? How's it going out there in Louisiana?
Dude, we are having fun, man. Our polls are about to close, so we're going to be covering some of our local elections at the same time. But I'm at an election party, hopefully a victory party. And look, I'm eating boudin, man.
Oh, yeah.
I can get used to this life, man. I can get used to doing this, going to parties and stuff like that. So politicians for 2023, if you want me there, call me. I'm coming. So what's happening, man?
You know what? I'm in the Permian Basin right now, Isaac. I'm in the Permian Basin of Texas. That's Midland, Odessa, Midland County, and Ector County. I do not live here, but I'm visiting and working. And for those of you not familiar with the Permian Basin, ask your car. The gas that goes in it, the diesel that goes in it, it all comes from here. Most of it, anyway.
Comes from Midland, Texas.
Midland, Odessa, the Permian Basin. I'll tell you what, Isaac. I just had dinner with a buddy of mine, and he is out of Valverde, Texas. That's down at the border. That's Del Rio, Texas. You know, a lot of border issues down there, so on and so forth. So my buddy, and he's Hispanic, and he is a diehard Republican. Put it to you that way. And he has been for a long time. And he's lived in Del Rio his whole life. He's from there. And he was telling me, we're talking about Beto O'Rourke. And so my wife called me and she said, Beto O'Rourke is hiding under the bed. And I was like, honey, what are you talking about? It's like we were having some dinner, and my wife calls me at dinner. She said, Beto O'Rourke's under the bed. And she's like, what? I'm like, what are you talking about? She said, Fox News has him up right now with 21% reporting. And I was thinking, man, I just don't think he's going to win. But my buddy from Del Rio, he's a little worried about it, actually. I wasn't worried about it before tonight. And I was like, buddy, why are you worried about this? And he was saying, well, Uvalde, Texas, the county down there, that used to be solid red. But after the unfortunate incident in Uvalde, he said that has flipped to blue. Really? And just based on his anecdotal experience down there, he's thinking, he's actually a little worried about Beto O'Rourke. Because obviously, Isaac, you've got the population centers, Travis County and Austin. You've got the counties down in Houston, up in North Dallas. And that's at 21% that's reporting right now, Bexar County and San Antonio, too. Right. They probably went solid for Beto O'Rourke across the board. So we're kind of waiting for the rest of Texas to come in. And, that 79% that's hopefully going to push Greg Abbott over the edge. So, but, we're all I'm actually a little shocked that Beto's doing so well, because up where I am, solid red, kind of northwest Texas, it's very, very red, and Beto wasn't even a concern,
So we have right now, I don't know if you can see the screen, Luke, by any chance?
I can.
So we have 30% coming in from Texas, and Greg Abbott's at 52, Beto O'Rourke at 46. Now, like you said, we don't have I can get the governor's race map. Let's see right here. Let's check out the map right here. So that's easy to do. They don't show the counties or anything, but still coming in at 30%, Abbott has a comfortable lead, but not a real comfortable lead.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I was trying to explain to my wife. It's like, okay, 21%, the bigger counties are going to come in quicker. And the bigger counties in Texas, so when I say the bigger counties, I'm talking more the populous counties, are going to come in quicker. And therefore, you're going to have those 21% looking like Beto's winning. Now, as these other counties come in with the smaller populations, you're going to see that turnaround. But Isaac, this is what I was going to ask you. If you remember the election in 2020, I feel like that Fox News in particular that they took a long time to call Florida, if you remember that. And it's like, no, this is very clear that Florida is in the bag for Trump. And they just took a long time to call that. Now, I was telling my wife, I'm like, look, Fox News and all of these channels are going to keep you in tune as long as they can. So you got to read between the lines. I mean, do you see it eye to eye with me on that one?
Yes, I do, because even Fox News, I said the other day on the podcast, that Fox News is more of the moderate out of all medias. They lean more right. You have Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Lauren Ingram, and all the good people at prime time, but a lot of their people lean more towards the middle. Then you have CNN and other networks that are more to the left. But then you have like Newsmax is more to the right, so they're more of a center. But Fox News, they want to make sure they're right, so they linger. Let's wait for this county, or let's wait for this certain amount of people vote or something. I agree with you. They will linger on. It could be. Like, I'm surprised they call Ron DeSantis that fast.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. So before we move on, we also got Josh and we got Roger on. So we have all of C3 here. Guys, welcome to the Cajun Conservative midterm coverage. I call this a 2022 midterm election coverage with Cajun and friends. So, hey, our friends, I can say.
I love it. Sounds like you got a big crowd in the background there.
Bro, I just told Luke I'm having a blast, man. I got the Oreo cake in front of me. I got boudin. They gave me. Remember when I took that picture to you guys? Because we've been talking all night. I had crawfish etouffee, and my little daughter just took my boudin. but I had crawfish etouffee. We had jambalaya. We had Mexican cornbread, and whoo. I'm full over here, man. Like I said, I'm getting fatter. Not fat. I'm just fatter.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
Roger, I guess we're gonna have to call you next time. You're gonna have to come in the studio. You know, just not to hang out, but just eat some good food.
I had some good food. I had a spicy chicken sandwich,
Oh, that
and
ain't
I
good
had
food.
spicy chicken tenders. I literally had Popeyes tonight. It was magical. You sit me your plate. I had that, and I had the red beans and rice in the little styrofoam that I threw in my trailer microwave for 30 seconds.
Oh.
Fantastic.
So I'm waiting for y'all to come down to Louisiana. I'll show y'all what some real good cooking is.
I love it.
any day.
So we were just talking about the great state of Texas. About Beto O'Rourke. I'm going to show up the little screen. Let's see if we can pull it back up. Right now, Beto O'Rourke is losing 46-52 to Greg Abbott. So I got the screen up, guys, so we can talk about the state. We're looking at the governor's races right now. So Luke, so you feel confident that Abbott's probably going to pull this out?
Well, I do. I always second guess myself. And Isaac, this goes back to when Mitt Romney ran against Barack Obama back in the day. I was so sure because I had shut it down. If you remember way back then, in my mind, I had shut it down after the first debate. And I was like, there is no way Barack Obama is going to beat Mitt Romney. And, at the time I was in Afghanistan, actually, when that election took place. And, the next morning when I got up and saw that Barack Obama had just trounced Mitt Romney, I was like, oh, man, I was way wrong on that. I need to start re-examining the way I see things. So when I say that I'm confident that Abbott's going to win, I always have that, that little devil on my shoulder, whatever you want to call it, or angel saying, hey, you might want to think twice about this and realize that the little echo chamber that you live in up in Northwest Texas that is ruby red, you got to remember there is Travis County, Austin, Texas, there's Bexar County, and San Antonio. So even that said, I do believe that Abbott has this in the bag. But as I told you earlier, to catch up Roger and Josh, a buddy of mine down in Valverde, that's Del Rio down on the border, he said he's actually pretty worried that Beto could actually pull it off. And I see that Grant Walston is listening. Grant down there in I can't remember the county. He's out of Lavernia, Texas. But Grant, thanks for listening. Check out the Cajun Conservative there, man. He's no joke, man. You should listen to his podcast when you're not listening to ours, because he's no joke. So I don't know if that answers your question. I do believe that Abbott's going to win. It may be closer than I thought, though.
Josh, Roger, let's get your input on that.
Yeah, I mean, how many elections has Beto lost at this point?
Like 20, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see him pulling this one off, but I also don't want to underestimate the the ability of the left to for shenanigans, after people start going to bed thinking they got it in the bag, so I think, if you're in line, I don't know if the polls are still open in Texas or not, but if you're in line, stay in line, get your vote in. At the end of the day, when you look at Texas, I think it's the same thing that we just witnessed in Florida. Ron DeSantis is going to carry Dade County by double digits.
Yeah.
He lost Dade County in 2018 by 20 plus points.
It's insane.
And he's going to carry it now by double digits. I think a lot of folks, especially those on the left, and we've talked about it on our podcast. I know you've talked about it on the Cajun Conservative. A lot of people looked at Hispanics, thinking, hey, the left was going to court them as voters, as their, to codify their base. And the left doesn't understand that a lot of Hispanics, one, they don't like being called Latinx, whatever that is, right? The majority are Roman Catholic. They don't buy into this woke culture. They don't buy into, abortion, by and large. So they are not going to be the base that the Democrats are going to lean on, are going to be able to lean on. And I think you're going to see that come to fruition in Texas, here over the next couple hours. I think we're already seeing across the country record turnout for voters, and a lot of folks, the big issues are inflation. Before people went to vote, they went grocery shopping, they filled up their gas tanks, and they went to vote, and they felt that sting. So I think Texas will be okay. I'm knock on wood. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. But I think Texas will be fine. I'd like to get Roger's opinion on it.
No, it's funny because I was watching Rachel Maddow, and they are just figuring out that Cubans and Latin Americans are family-oriented, generally against abortions. They care about crime. They care about the economy, and that's the entire narrative of the Democratic Party for this election, is that they're just not in touch. They're not in touch. They think they know what's best, and it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you're experiencing. They know what's best for you. It is truly an elitist attitude, and that sums it all up.
And if I can bring out a point right there, I agree with Roger. Because a lot of Democrat strategists are saying, well, we didn't keep up with the people. We were just doing our own thing. And like abortion, using for example, abortion was 6th to 7th on the list behind inflation, crime, and all the other issues, but they were sticking on abortion. And your voters didn't want that. Yeah, they were worried about abortion because of the Dobbs decision, but they were just not. They were disconnected. Heck on the inflation, heck on the border, heck on it. We just want to push abortion and other things down your throat. And they were just completely out of touch. And I think that's why it's going to have a bad night tonight as well.
Hey, Isaac, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Isaac, we got some Culper's Canteen Cup listeners. I see Damon and like I said, Grant are on here. So why don't they may not be as familiar with Louisiana politics as they are with Texas, North Carolina, Arizona. So could you give us an update real quick on what's going on there, like the major issues, if there are any tight races, any surprises that you see?
The only tight race that I could probably see, majority of our congressional map is going to be set up with Steve Scalise, Johnson, and I think it's Matthew Johnson. It's Mike Johnson and a few of them. They're going to win in pretty easy. That's projected. The only race that's probably going to be tight is in my district, District 3. There's a guy named Colton Agate, and to be honest with you, I was not endorsing him, but I was going to say, look, if he wins, he's a Republican. But Clay Higgins, y'all probably all know who Clay Higgins is. He has been on top. Holton Haggett has come up. He might go to a runoff with him. But the only reason Holton Haggett is getting any support is because he got John Breaux and a few other former congressional leaders to get endorsed. But he's also been attacking Clay Higgins. And I think that's stupid. Another Republican attacking another Republican, or Republicans attacking Republicans, whatever. I think that's stupid. But we have a different primary. Like tonight, all the candidates are on the ballot. Democrat, Republican, don't matter. They're on the ballot. And what they're doing is, if they don't get 50% plus one, the two top candidates go into a runoff. And that happens in December. We're kind of similar to Georgia in that way. The Senate, God, John Kennedy, they believe John Kennedy is going to have 70% of the vote tonight. All three Democrats that are running against him, the only one that I know is Greg Chambers, and the only reason I know is because LB has
62,000.
Say again?
You got 62,000.
Of what? 62,000. So John, my producer LB's here with me. He's helping. John Kennedy already got 62,000 votes, and the polls just closed 12 minutes ago.
Almost half of the early voting.
Half of LB just said half of the early voting went to John Kennedy.
No, half of the early vote results.
Yeah, half of the early vote results. So in Louisiana, John Kennedy is going to take that. Like I said, we're looking at a couple of local races. We didn't get no results in yet on that, so we're just waiting to see what happens on that.
Yeah. I don't know if I knew we were talking Texas and just a little bit of Florida, but so Ted Budd and Sherry Beasley, Senate race here in North Carolina, where I'm at. Ted Budd just took the lead over Sherry Beasley in the count. It's 49.47 to 48.58.
Yeah, I just pulled that up right there. It's on the screen right now. That's a shocker because earlier Ted Budd was not doing anything.
Yeah, Ted Budd ran a little bit of a different campaign, right? So there were three Republicans back in the primary, and Trump threw his weight behind Ted Budd really, really hard. Ted Budd, he turned around and he ran a very milquetoast campaign. His commercials weren't that great, really. And just he was having a hard time connecting with some folks. But he started out really weak. As when the polls closed here at 7:30, Beasley jumped out to a really strong lead. And but Bud is, Damon, you're absolutely right. He's been covering some ground here in the last probably 20 minutes or so. He's coming on pretty strong. This race is in North Carolina for the Senate is not over. Everybody needs to keep an eye on it. It's going to be very, very close. We've got a couple of counties here in North Carolina and cities that they are solid blue, while the majority of North Carolina is really it's red. Especially you get out in the rural areas. Like Luke said about northern Texas, like it's ruby red.
Right.
But you start talking about Wake and Durham County, which is Raleigh. You have Charlotte, which is obviously very blue, and then you have Asheville, North Carolina, which is Buncombe County. It's very blue. Here in North Carolina, we refer to it as the Berkeley of North Carolina, or we've kind of started referring to it now as the Austin of North Carolina. Since Texas decided that they were just going to go ahead and capitulate and give Austin to the hippies.
That's all Luke's fault, huh? That's all Luke's fault.
That's on me, man. That's on me.
So hey, before we move on, just hold y'all thoughts for 1 second. I want to go ahead and give a big shout out to Overcomers Youth Ministry at New Beginning Fellowship Church. Guys, y'all saw all the comments earlier that was flashing on the screen. That is almost all my youth members. So props out to Overcomers Youth Ministry. We also got producer in training right here. He came join us. So Overcomers Youth Ministry, I love you guys. Thank y'all for the support.
Nice, that's awesome. And important to point out, Roger just posted it. JD Vance has closed within 2 points of Tim Ryan in Ohio.
And only 40% of the vote in. I got it on the screen right now. JD Vance and Tim Ryan.
Yeah, that's a huge race. Because we talk about the guys like Ted Budd. You talk about the JD Vances and the Blake Masters from Arizona. You get those folks into the Senate, and it is truly a new GOP. And I want to get Luke. I want to get Luke's opinion first, and then Isaac. I want to get your opinion.
Okay.
With the showing that DeSantis has had so far tonight, what do you think? Does DeSantis is he a fool not to run in 2024? Is it now DeSantis's party? Is the GOP now the party of Ron DeSantis? And is Florida the base for the GOP, for the next 12, 24 months.
Well, first of all, Isaac, that's great that those kids are listening and like really taking part in the civic action and learning more. It's not that they have to agree with everything you or we say, but just hearing these things and hearing these names like, hey, who's that person? Because these kids got Google and they're so good at it. They look it up and they do the research on their own. So that's good that the kids are doing that, man. I appreciate y'all listening and taking part in the civic process. Josh, to answer your question, I mean, I was listening to Ben Shapiro today. I think it was Ben Shapiro. It might have been somebody else. But they said, in politics, it's either someone's time or it's not. You can't choose your time. It just happens. And I believe that with DeSantis, it's his time. Now, how that's going to figure in with Trump, who I believe is going to announce next week. I think he's going to announce within the next 7 days that he's going to run, most likely. I don't think it matters. I think it is DeSantis' time. I don't think he has a choice. It's just his time. Whether he's going to win or not, I don't know. We'll see. But everything to me points to, well, I don't see why he would wait, even if Trump is running. Damon just said someone just called it for Abbott. I don't know who called
Fox
it.
News, Fox News just called Abbott. Got
Okay.
the state of Texas. He is with 38% of the vote. They called it just now. He has 1,969,000 votes to Beto O'Rourke. 1,779,000 votes. 50%
Okay.
of the vote.
Well, Mrs. Luke, if you're listening, which I know you are, don't worry. Beto O'Rourke, Robert Francis, Beto O'Rourke is not under the bed. You can go to sleep now. It's no wonder the dogs were barking tonight. It's your husband not home.
This is another breaking news. The Kemp has come over Abrams. He's winning 51% to her 47. So if he keeps that 51%, he does not have to go into a runoff with Stacey Abrams. I don't know if there's anybody else running against him, though. Am I not?
No, I don't.
No.
So I think he's got that one in the bag. So Isaac, I'm gonna pile on Josh and ask you the same thing about DeSantis, number one. Okay, but I'm also going to ask you another question. So we want to hear your thoughts on DeSantis, obviously, and so does the audience. But number two, what do you agree with Culper's Canteen Cup that the narrative, specifically in Florida and Georgia, running up to 2024, is going to be like, well, the Republicans just suppressed the vote? Because that's what we believe the narrative is going to be leading into 2024, especially if DeSantis runs. DeSantis, he suppressed the vote. He doesn't like the minority vote, so on and so forth. So number one, DeSantis, is it his time or not? And number two, what do you think the narrative will be?
Well, I'm going to start off with the narrative because Stacey Abrams has already said that if she loses, it's going to be because of the suppression of the vote. I think she changed her language from 2018 because a lot of us Republicans were calling her election denier from 2018. So she already said that, because of the rule changes in Georgia, it's going to be suppressed, and we won't be able to have the free elections like we want. I think that's going to be the narrative going in, because you remember they can't use the term steal no more because of the 2020 election. They labeled everybody that thought the election was rigged or anything of that nature was called an election denier, or somebody that, if you think something happened in the 2020 election, you're labeled an election denier. So they can't use that anymore. Now they're going to say was suppressing of the votes. That's what it is. It's going to be suppressing of the votes going into 2024. And on Ron DeSantis, guys, I hope he runs. When they asked him the question in the debate, are you going to, or will Chris kind of try to get I got you moment, say, hey, are you going to run for 4 years? He's like, I just want to take out this old donkey before anything else. So I know he used, did he use other language or he said donkey? I think
he said donkey.
He said donkey.
Okay, so I want to make sure. Fact checkers, no, but anyway. But he didn't answer that question directly. So I see Ron DeSantis running. My issue with Ron DeSantis running, he's going to be running against Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has already called him DeSantimus. And he gave him a nickname. And, the Lion Ted, Crooked Hillary, and all the other nicknames he has. I think that's going to hurt if they start attacking each other way too early. because I see them as allies. They should work together, not fight each other.
There you go, Josh. I mean,
Yeah.
I know. I add a little bit. It's just I like the Sanders. I hope he runs. To be honest with you guys, I would vote for him before I vote for Trump in the primaries.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saw Scott throw up Oklahoma took some House seats. Or the GOP took House seats in Oklahoma.
Right.
And hey, Damon, I also thought, okay, so Damon's now saying Gates in the House just called. All right. I also saw where Oklahoma, both senators from Oklahoma, the GOP took both those Senate seats. I'm not
You
super.
said that's in the Senate.
Yeah, that was one of the ones I saw, and then also in the House that Damon just posted. I may have mistaken the House for the Senate when I saw it to begin with.
Yeah, Oklahoma was won by GOP candidate James Lexford and GOP candidate Marco Mill.
Yeah.
So I didn't know they had 2 Senate seats in that race in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I didn't either, and again, I may have been wrong in seeing that. I may have seen Oklahoma and said it about something else. It may have just been those House seats that the GOP picked up. I tell you, so I'm looking at Georgia right now with Warnock and Walker. It's obviously a big race, well advertised. Warnock's got a slight lead on Walker, but right now. Warnock has 50% of the vote. I think it's about just shy of 60% voting reported. So, one of them has to have.
We got to remember about Georgia, too, though. Okay, so Warnock does not carry 50%. Him and Walker will go on to a runoff race in December because Chase Olivier, is it Olivier? Olivier, thank you, sir. He got almost 2% of the vote right now. That got to be hurting Rodolph Warnock.
Yeah. Georgia is another one of those states. Obviously, Atlanta, Fulton County, DeKalb County, solid blue. Douglas, really, really blue. And then down around Savannah is very blue. We were actually down there earlier this year, and I was shocked to see the amount of Warnock, Joe Biden signs and and Democrat signage and propaganda that I saw in and around Savannah. It was actually really sad to see such a beautiful city, that smelled like a urinal with homeless people everywhere. Because Savannah is a gorgeous city, and so it's going to be very close in Georgia. Is what it's shaping up to be. I think Kemp's going to be good over Abrams. I don't see Stacey Abrams winning. But I mean, we know Stacey Abrams in her history. Even if she doesn't win, she'll still claim that she won, and she'll go around for the next week or two talking about how she's the governor of Georgia.
Unless it's like a big, let's say like she loses 60-40, and if she says, "Oh, I still won," I'm like, you got some issues.
Yeah. So I think what we're gonna see, because I mean, Kemp is up over, he's up. Let's see, 100,000, 128,000 votes roughly, with 58% of the reporting in. So, and it looks like most of the blue counties are all reported, except for you still got DeKalb in Fulton County. So we'll see what happens. We'll see as they find stacks of ballots in storage rooms. As the evening progresses, water pipes start breaking, and we see a replay of what we saw in 2020.
So Isaac, one of the things we kind of had a prediction on, I'm not seeing it too much, maybe earlier in the day, but on Culper's Canteen Cup, we were saying, of course, about the narratives about suppressing the vote leading to 2024. But we were kind of worried about some hijinks going on, some of them hijinks that we saw in 2020. I'm not saying stop the steal. I'm just saying hijinks, We kind of saw the Maricopa County thing, 20% of the voting machines not working. We saw Carrie Lake step up and say, hey, hold the line, stay in line. But I'm not seeing a whole lot of other hijinks, except for maybe over the past 5 days, people saying, well, it takes time to count these votes. And now we're seeing in Pennsylvania, if it's postmarked by November 14th, they can still be counted. And we know how close that race is going to be. So do you think, I guess the question I have for you is twofold. Number one, what hijinks are you seeing any hijinks that we're not seeing? Number one. And number two, do you think that the Pennsylvania race, specifically between Oz and Fetterman, is going to drag out past tonight or a couple of days after that?
So it all depends on who's leading right now. Featherman is leading almost by 30%. He only got he right now is the lead about 300,000 votes, give or take. Which I don't understand why anybody in the state of Pennsylvania would vote John Featherman because of his condition, not even his policies, just his conditions. Can you imagine that man trying to be in the Senate? It just won't work. But I do agree with you on that. I do think that if it's close, well, guys, we really can't call this race, and we have to make sure all the votes are counted. And like I said, I didn't know about November 14th. That is ridiculous. That it's supposed to be voting day, not voting week or voting month or voting year. It's supposed to be voting day. So I do see that. I do the same thing with Georgia if it's real close. Like I hope a pipe don't bust or something of that nature happens to where suspicions rises up again. So I like I said, it's hard to say, especially this early in the night, to see what's going to happen. Now I forgot what was your second question.
That was the first. Well, Josh helped me out here. The first one was the Fetterman Oz thing. He answered that, and the other one was, you got to be patient with me, Isaac. I'm an old man.
That's all right. Me too.
I'm darn near 50 years old, so sometimes I forget. Josh, what was the other ones? Fetterman Oz, and then hijinks. That's what it was. Have you seen any hijinks other than like the Maricopa County thing? I think there was something in Pennsylvania. And Josh, I think there was a third one somewhere.
Yeah, it was in New Jersey. Some machines stopped working, and then there was actually a couple places in Pennsylvania that they ran out of paper.
Well, what about Illinois? There was something else in Illinois as well. It wasn't like the machine stopped too in Illinois or whatnot.
Yeah, potentially. I wasn't paying too much attention to Illinois.
This goes back to the whole, I can't remember, was it Ben Franklin said, the first 50 names in the Boston phone book could govern society better than the people we have in power now. I think that carries over to election administrators in some cases. Now, my county, they were running things really well today. I thought it was very smooth. It was really nice. There wasn't no hijinks going on, or even possibility for hijinks. But how do you run out of paper? Who is planning these things?
Well,
and that's one thing that we talk about, Isaac. We talk about is like, is this purposeful, or do we chalk it up to just people being dumb?
Well, what happened in you talking about that? Okay, hijinks. What about Arizona? Didn't something happen in Arizona today too? I think it was like Josh said, Megapole County, whatever it's called.
Maricopa
County. You know what's sad? The Secretary of State is running for the governor.
Yeah, it's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Huge conflict of interest.
So it just, besides the ones y'all quoted, I haven't seen anything yet. Like I said, though, the night is young, guys. The night is young, and we're gonna have to see what happens.
Yeah. You would think the last, probably 6-8 years, really, even predating Trump, there's been an issue with trust in our institutions. There's been an issue with trust in our processes, as a country. And, coming into this midterms, knowing how consequential they are, Luke likes to tell me that I'm a drama queen and everything. And so, but I do believe these midterms, I do believe they are the canary in the coal mine for the country, that's going to set the stage for the next, 20, 30 years. You know, it is this midterm. It's not, it's not the 15th storm of the century. Like this truly is a very consequential midterm. And it's a turning point. Getting some fresh blood in there, getting some of these incumbents out, whether they're regardless of which side of the aisle they sit on. But the damage that has been done to institutional trust, in the country, to come into today and be like, oh well, sorry, we can't take your vote right now because we ran out of paper. It's like, are you serious? This is some this is banana republic type stuff, right? I mean, this is stuff that we saw in Iraq, Afghanistan, the Balkans. This is banana republic type stuff. We can smash this little machine into an asteroid, at however many thousands miles of an hour, that we can send it on a journey for years and hit this asteroid perfectly. But we can't count votes in one night, and we can't make sure there's enough damn paper, so people can show up to their polling station and vote.
That's what I was about to add on to that. This is America. This isn't a third world nation. This is America. But it shows the incompetence of Hobbs in Arizona, as Kerry Lake said. You only had one job, and that was to make sure that we had enough paper in that race. So I'm trying to go look at the New York governor's race, guys. We forgot about New York for a second.
Oh yeah.
So 14% has come in. Lee Zeldin is losing. It's 68, 53, 31. Well, 68, 31 to Kathy Holchin. I call her Hackerson. She hacks me every time I listen to her. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. Kathy Holchin is winning big right now, but the night is still young. Hopefully in New York it switches up.
Yeah, I think New York just kind of always seemed like a pipe dream to me. It really did. It's New York. That's going to be a tough one. And that would be a real bellwether. I mean, like you said, Isaac, the night is young. That's for sure. But I just don't know. It's funny. Elizabeth in the comments said, "You're not old." That's spoken like truly someone who is probably about a year older than me. So
no,
thank you, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth is one of my youth members. So I don't know what she's talking about. So I'm going to tell you an inside joke on that.
Yeah, please do.
I have a youth member. My birthday was in October, and I turned 30. And they were like, "Well, how old you are? 50?" And I'm like, "How old do you think I am?" So then Elizabeth was the only one that was like telling me, "You're not old." So I don't know if she's pointing that to me or to you, Luke. Elizabeth, please let us know. Please let us know who you know.
Well, at the end of the day, it's all about how old you feel, right? And,
right.
I definitely don't feel my age. I'll put it to you that way. So I must be living right or something. I don't know. Josh, what do you think? You old?
Bro, and if you're as old as you feel, I feel like I'm about 80. Yes, right. So it was,
she said it was to me that I'm not old. So, Luke, you should feel a little bit better, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, she's truthful. I'll give her that.
Yeah. I don't know, Isaac, if you heard, but here it was like 2 months ago, Luke, or something like that. I was up one morning, I was getting ready, and I sat on the side of the tub to put on my socks.
I heard that on the
podcast. Yeah, dude, I sat on the sub, and I got one sock on, and I felt it. I was like, ooh, oh, what is that? And then all of a sudden, I couldn't move. And so here I am, half dressed on the floor in the bathroom, laying there, and I can't move. And it was just, it was like, so it's finally happened. This is when you know you're old. You hurt yourself putting on your socks.
That's when you know. That's when you know you old. One second.
No, I agree with Damon in the comments. As much as I hate to admit it, there is truth in Luke's analysis, and it kills me whenever I have to say that Luke is right. But I did get Luke the last week. I was traveling for work, and Luke I texted Luke and Roger, and I was like, yeah, man, just went out and crushed a 8.5 minute mile, and it's been a while since I've ran 1 mile as hard as I could, and Luke's like, God, now I'm gonna have to go. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to go do a sub 8 minute mile. So Luke and I, we always have a little competition of something going back and forth.
Yeah. At least you can run a mile. I can't run a mile.
Oh, I felt it for the next couple of days. Trust me.
Isaac, you getting some late breaking analysis there? What's going on?
Okay, so we're looking at a local election. So the party that I'm at, we just heard that the candidate did not make it to the runoff. So we're trying to look for numbers and to see. They just called him. So Rodney, go ahead and go get that. Yeah. So we're looking at some local elections right here. I apologize. But
hey man, it's tough.
No, it's all
tough
good.
when you got local and federal. You're like,
Yeah. Now, while you're doing that, I know they already called Texas for Abbott, but I'm looking back at Bud and Beasley in North Carolina. It looks like Bud is kind of set in. It looks like he's pulling away just enough. He's expanded his lead over Beasley a little bit more, about 66% of the vote in. So it's not over yet in North Carolina, but it's looking okay for Bud. Luke, have you been tracking? Michigan with Whitmer? And
I haven't at all. I haven't even looked at it. Are you seeing anything?
that's the vote.
I haven't seen anything, Josh. So what
Okay.
are you looking at?
So I just pulled it up. Looks like Whitmer is up 52% to Tudor Dixon at 46, but only 10% of the vote is in. So they've got a long way to go in Michigan for that. Hopefully Tudor Dixon pulls it out. I can't imagine people in Michigan, especially outside of Detroit, really enjoyed the way Whitmer treated them, during COVID.
Did you guys see when Whitmer suddenly ended the interview on the local news? Isaac, you see that at all, where they asked her about the COVID shutdowns and all of a sudden she was having technical difficulties. She had to quit the interview.
I didn't see that, but it would surprise me. So, hey, I got some news right here. J.D. Vance has went up 3.72%, and Featherman is down 11% right now, and Warnock is only ahead by not even half a percentage point. So Warnock, Featherman, and Featherman are losing to ground, and Vance has gained the lead in Ohio. So that's some good news. And as Josh just said, Bud is ahead 3 points right now. So let's go ahead and throw that up on the screen so we can just see what's going on right here.
Yeah, and then
right here.
I say the good thing in Ohio with Vance and Ryan is it's right at it's like 49.8% of the vote is in, and Vance Vance is up a little bit, so that's a good sign.
That's in that Ohio race right there.
Yeah.
So according to this, it said 50% is in, and it's 2% give or take.
Yeah, and Damon's posting in the comments. Yeah, Dixon's down bad right now. She's down against Whitmer in Michigan. But again, there's only 10% of the vote is in, so Tudor Dixon still has a chance. Yeah, Damon, I agree. I think Warnock and Walker will be a runoff. I think you're spot on.
Well, and the only reason I see it going into a runoff, guys, is because of is it a libertarian or independent that is running as well? He has 53,000 votes, and he's over 2%. And look, that race just went to a virtual tie. Walker has just went over in Georgia, 49-12 to 49-04.
Yeah, it's so frustrating, with the libertarian candidates because. Luke and I kind of go back and forth about this, and Roger as well on Culper's Canteen Cup. If there was ever a time for the Libertarian Party to put forth a really good candidate and establish themselves as a contender, 2016 was that election, right?
Yeah.
That 2016 was the year to do that. And they put up Gary, what is Aleppo Johnson? And they just completely, it's very hard to take the Libertarian Party seriously. And then in 2020 they turned around, and I can't. Who was the female that they put up? Luke, do you remember her name? I can't remember. But
Oh God,
she was another
Jorgensen, Joe Jorgensen.
Yeah, Joe Jorgensen. And she was another train wreck. I find myself with a lot more libertarian views these days. Vice, the GOP, but they're just not a serious party. They don't have serious candidates. There was a party, the Libertarian Party here in North Carolina. You had a couple of them that were actually somewhat sane. They had some good points, but by and large, like their leadership was basically, this guy who wanted to go start a nudist colony in the mountains, and you're just like, you're not. The Libertarian Party, I don't wish they would go away, but at a certain point, they need to cut their losses and then throw their weight behind, who they identify kind of more with, which I think is conservatives.
He should remember the libertarian that ran against. I'm trying to remember. It was a three-way race. It was the Arizona race with Mark. I think Mark Kelly and Blake Masters. They had a libertarian there. The libertarian dropped down and said, "Look, I'm gonna put all my weight together with Blake Masters," and told his supporters, "Go ahead and vote for Blake Masters." So it wasn't a race that he could win. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with the next best thing, or the lesser of two evils in his case.
Yeah. So, and that's what they need to do.
So we have go ahead, y'all, for 1 second. No, y'all can go ahead. I was looking at some.
Well, I hear you with the libertarians. I mean, I agree with them in principle on most things, actually. But you got to at some point, and this is one thing we go back and forth on. You got to be realistic, and right. I do believe that there is a schism within the Libertarian Party, and this is getting kind of wonky, and maybe people don't want to hear about it. But there's two types of libertarians. There's the old not Milton Friedman, I can't remember his name, but there's the old school libertarians, and there's the new school libertarians. And the new school libertarians, believe it or not, are the Gary Johnsons and the Joe Jorgensens. Those are the ones that have traditionally had the most power within the Libertarian Party. But the old school libertarians, the ones who believe in like the true meaning of the words is liberty, not necessarily anarchy, but liberty. They're getting a stronger foothold. And here's the thing: I want y'all to listen to this now. There's a guy that's now in charge of the old school libertarians. They have put him in power. He is like the chairperson for the Libertarian Party, named Dave Smith. And this guy, Dave Smith, is no joke. Like, he's been on Joe Rogan a few times. You can find him out there. He is a voice of reason, and that's a guy I could actually get behind. He's educated. He's not an idiot. He knows what Aleppo is. He's realistic. He's not like Joe Jorgensen about transing the kids and all that stuff. So y'all watch out for Dave Smith, because that could be their next candidate.
Yeah.
Now, this is what I think about the Libertarian Party. Okay, it's kind of like the Tea Party. Remember back in 2008, between 2008 and 2010, they were functional, but they didn't have everything. Nobody agreed with everything. One state believed this way, one state believed that way, and it was just a toss-up. You didn't know what the Libertarian Party, what the Tea Party had, and who were their candidates. But then they didn't want to be a national. They want to be a national force. And look, I got the Cajun Libertarian, great friend of mine. We agree with some things, we disagree with others. But they have some good ideas. I wish they would get more functional. And that's one thing about the Republican Party. They might disagree a little bit, but on major issues, that's what they agree on. So,
and Damon I'm glad Damon put that. Ron Paul was a good one. When I'm talking about old school libertarians, old school versus new school, the Ron Paul was the old school. Okay?
Right.
So the Ron and Rand Paul a little bit. That's what this guy Dave Smith aligns himself more with the Ron Pauls and less with the new Joe Jorgensens and Gary Aleppo Johnson.
So
Yeah.
Braylon just put up there. Oz is catching Featherman. I'm gonna go check if I can see that race. Yeah. So Dr. Oz is closing the gap. He's within 10% of the vote right now. So and we have only 30%, close to 30% of the poll wins. So.
Yeah.
Hey, Isaac, is there ever a time when you do not vote straight ticket? That's a question I wanted to ask you.
It all depends on, well, like I said, so in Louisiana, we have open primaries. So on election day, you can vote whoever you want in the top 2 runoff. But so it depends on the candidate over here in Louisiana. Look, less than 2 evils, okay? The last gubernatorial election was John Bell Edwards, Ralph Abraham, and Eddie Rispoli. Eddie Rispoli attacked Ralph Abraham. I disagreed with it. I told people I do not like that. That shouldn't be happening. Well, Ralph Abraham lost, and I had to bite the bullet, and I voted for Ralph Abraham. So, to be honest with you, you look at both candidates and you see, well, which one is really the lesser of 2 evils. And always Republican, always pull out on top. Now, I will say this. If I heard a libertarian that had my views and I saw he had a shot to win an election, I would vote for him in a heartbeat. It all depends on what the circumstances are.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in the same boat, and I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question too, even though Luke didn't, pose it to me, which is fine. And Isaac, you probably heard us go back and forth, and Luke and I got pretty animated here a couple of episodes ago because, I said I'm done voting for. I'm done voting for the GOP candidates who aren't conservatives, and to the point where I'll just stay. I'll stay home, and I'm just not going to vote. If there were solid libertarian candidates out there, I would. I would absolutely vote for one. So in our election here today, we had school board members. That I didn't vote. I didn't vote for the school board members because both of them, they were conservatives, but I didn't vote for either one of them because both of them supported school lockdowns. So it's like, okay, I don't think any of us were fans of that. They came back to, they were a terrible idea, and so I wrote myself in. So. Who knows? There's a 0.0000001. I might get elected to the school board tonight.
Right.
Happenstance. So Braylon pointed out. Yep, Oz is catching Fetterman. Damon point. Vance is opening up his lead on Ryan right now. He's expanded it. And
a lot of people probably would ask, well, did Tim Ryan have a chance? Anybody really has a chance. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, Vance they spent tons and tons of money on Vance to win that. At one point, they stopped because he got this in the bag according to the poll.
Yeah. Well, I remember when they pulled out of what was that, New Hampshire? They pulled out of trying to pump money into Bulldog's race. Once they realized that Bulldog probably wasn't going to win, they stopped spending money there and shifted that money to Vance, and really pushed Vance. But Ohio is never a sure thing. Ohio is one of those states that kind of blows with the political wind a little bit. So it's definitely not over, but I mean let's see, what are they saying? They're saying 55% of the vote is, the vote's been counted. But yeah, Vance is starting to pull away a little bit, which would be really good. I like to see guys like Vance get into the Senate, get into Congress, get some of the incumbents out of there, regardless of which side of the aisle they sit on.
And wasn't that an open seat in Ohio?
I think wasn't it?
I think so. I think you're
Yeah.
right. And if we're not, somebody in the comments, Braylon, Damon, what do you guys correct
Look,
us?
Damon just said anyone that did a dumb dance on TikTok should be disqualified, and I completely agree.
100% agree.
So I know that I'm on with 3 Christian men right now, and some of the Christian men on here are better than others. But I'll tell you, I'll tell you why I didn't vote straight ticket in Texas today. Is because our Attorney General Ken Paxton, he does not want to. He is keeping online betting from being legal in the state of Texas. And although I'm not a gambler, I'm not a big gambler, because any good Christian man is not a gambler. I think it says somewhere in the Bible about that, right, Isaac?
Not that direct quote, but
Well, man, I just want to put $1 on my Texas Tech Red Raiders every once in a while to cover the spread, and then Ken Paxton keep me from doing that. And
Luke,
so I voted the Libertarian on that.
Luke, this is what you do, okay? It's legal in my powers. Just come visit one weekend.
I will.
I love it.
I will.
So let's get some updates on the House side. 83 Republicans, 47 Democrat is what the number is right now. So there's 305 seats left open. On the Senate side, there's 18 seats left in play. This is what they're saying. So we have the Senate race in Colorado. Bennett won by 20 points right now. Fox News has called that Colorado race for Bennett. So that's one of the seats that was kind of up for grabs. I think it was Josh that texted me and said, Isaac, didn't you see that Colorado's a toss-up? And I was like, okay. And so that one was kind of a long shot. New Hampshire, Henson still has a 15-point lead. North Carolina, your home state, Josh, Bud is holding a 4-point advantage. I'm rounding off, and Featherman his gap is brought down to 8, and Vance is at 5 points right now, and Walker's up ahead.
Yeah.
So it's looking like at least Vance. They should be calling Vance pretty soon.
Yeah, those are kind of settling a little bit. I think that initial push, out of the gate for the Democrats to put them way ahead. I think there's probably, generally speaking, not all the time, but generally speaking, a lot of the mail-in ballots and stuff, favor Democrats.
Right.
Me personally, I would make mail-in ballots illegal. They would be absentee ballots, and it would only be in very, very extremely constricted, by exception.
Well, they should do like Louisiana, which our Secretary of State is one of the greatest in the country. He has you have mail-in ballots to the elderly and the ones that can't get out their home, which is an absentee ballot, and they send that to them, but they don't send out mail-in ballots. You either have to go, which we only have 1 week of early voting, which I love, and then you only have like today from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. to vote. That's it.
Yeah. See, and I would, let's say, if I were king for a day, not president.
Here we go.
Not president.
Lord.
Not president, but king, right? It's like Bush said in 2007. It's like, I'm going to have to violate some free market principles to save the free market. I'm going to have to violate some principles to save the country. One day, voting is 1 day, no early voting, because I promise you, there were some people in Pennsylvania that after that Oz-Fetterman debate that early voted for Fetterman wanted their vote back. I promise you, there people wanted their vote back. So early voting would be done. There would be.
Let me ask you this though, okay? And then all seriousness, because Josh, before today, honestly, I was with you, 100%. I tweeted about it and everything, Isaac. You might have seen that. I was like, if this was a case against early voting, if there ever was one, and all that stuff. But I will say this: I do believe my wife is listening, so I'll maintain to HIPAA laws. But I'll put it to you this way: she was not feeling well today, and I am a vote on the day guy, and so is she. But she was not feeling well to the point, not COVID or anything, to the point where I don't know if I can make it to vote. So I mean, that was the thing. I was like, you know what? Maybe early voting, maybe in some cases that might be a good idea. That's the first time I've really ever thought about it like that. It's like, you know what? she was sick, and maybe she couldn't have made it. I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, since I know your wife, and I want to remain friends with you, you know, and I want her to allow you to still hang out with me.
She just commented, by the way. She just commented.
Oh, look at that! See, she made it happen. There you go. Even Luke was trying. You know, Luke's trying to give you an out, and here you are. Your wife's like, I don't need an out. I don't need you to save me. I'm a grown ass woman. She, you know, I go with I go back to MLK. If you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you crawl. But you get to the pole. You know, you look at it. There should be voter ID, serialized paper ballots, and 1 day voting. That's it. And we count them in 1 day. It can be done. We did it prior to 2020. I don't understand why all of a sudden we just can't count votes in 1 day. It's insane.
Because it's a conspiracy theory, you know. The Democrats don't want us to get all the results right in, you know.
Well, that is a really good point, Josh. It's, you know, it really, you know, Isaac, I always say this is our sacred franchise. You know, I mean, the founding fathers, you know, I'm not talking about race, I'm not talking about anything like that, but the founding fathers didn't necessarily think it was a good idea for everyone to vote. That's why it's not in the Constitution. People think it is, but it's not. Your right to vote is not in the Constitution. So, I mean, it's on all of us to realize how important that right is, or that franchise is that's given to us. And it's like, yeah, my wife was sick, and yeah, she's giving me the business right now. But if it's that important, you're going to make it. It's not about, oh, we're in a red county, you know, it's not going to matter if we vote or not. Don't worry about it. It's like, no, I'm going to make it. If I got to drag myself there, I'm going to make it. So, yeah, it is important. I think a lot of people don't realize that.
And see, that's why I say, like, look, I had someone come tell me they forgot to go early vote, and they couldn't, they were offshore. So they couldn't vote today. And which is, you know, you forget or something. If you're offshore in the middle of the ocean, you really can't go vote. So that's the good thing about early voting. But even that, one second, Joseph, if I know you can move the camera. Kids are running around. But I can understand that part for the early votes. But at the same time, I do agree with Josh on that about the same day. If you can do that 1 day, and you wouldn't have to worry about mail-in ballots, you wouldn't have to worry about that. Just do that. It's called election day for a reason. Like I said, it's not election week or election month. It's election day. Like Pennsylvania, we use, for example, about John Featherman, that some people would have said, well, we wish we could take our vote back. Okay, I can understand that, but you have a whole month to do it. You get what I'm saying? That's what. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be busy the election day. I'm just going to vote the first day of election, early voting, and guess what? You're in trouble. Yeah.
Well, I think that's where the federal government just election day is a national holiday. Right now, that's not going to get everybody off work. You know, I mean, if you work at Walmart and, you know, stuff like that, it's not going to get you off work. But, you know, you make it a federal holiday and you put some emphasis behind it. You know, I mean, I can speak for, you know, my employer and stuff, and, you know, they're always, hey, I'm going to go vote. You know, and there's zero questions asked. But I know that's not the case for everybody, but we have to do something. I don't like the early voting. You know, I just don't like it. You know, Braylon brings up a good point. It does, you know, it makes it easier to cheat. You know, potentially, but Damon also brings up a good point. You know, if you want to early vote, then you go do it in person.
Yeah,
you know,
well, see, like I said, in Louisiana, we do that. Okay, so when we do early voting in my parish, there's 3 locations. Now you can go to any location and do it, but you have 3 locations to go do it, but you have to show up in person and show an ID.
Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that. You're gonna until your candidate gets into a debate and you know, has problem stringing you know, complete sentences together. Then you're like, man, I really wish I had a take back. A little too late for a lot of folks in Pennsylvania.
We got some. Wow! So we just got some news. I'm going to throw this on the screen for y'all guys. So if you can see the key seats right there, Featherman's lead from 11. It sounded like it's the polls that were talking about him winning his 11 points from 11 to 5, and it's slowly shrinking. So Pennsylvania is two. Well, it just went down again, guys. And then Walker's lead is starting to go up. I want to go look at that Senate seat because remember he got to go over 50%. Let's see if he's over 50 right now. Or can y'all guys? Do you have those numbers?
So Walker's at 49.6% right now.
Ah man.
And there's 66% of the vote is in.
Man, that is a tight race.
That's gonna be close, man.
That's well. I would be happy if Herschel Walker makes it. You know, if he stays the lead and even to go to a runoff, at least he still has the lead. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's man, that's a tough one. Your boy Ted Budd is starting to open up his lead too, right?
Yeah, Bud's starting to open it up a little bit. Here's a problem with the Georgia race though, with Walker and Warnock. You still have Gwinnett County, which is basically it's Atlanta. You still have Fulton County, Cobb County. These are all Atlanta counties that I'm reading off. DeKalb. Those counties still don't have all their votes in. I mean, they've got about 50% of them in. But they're not all in. And I can tell you right now, those are all going to go to Warnock.
Oh yeah.
You know, those are all going to go to Warnock. Yeah.
Well,
you know,
Campus taking over the lead big time, 53 to 4. Now, Fulton County and all of them hasn't come in yet either. So, you know, that's going to be a big play too right there for Stacey Abrams. But I don't see Stacey Abrams getting much votes out of that.
Yeah, I don't see her winning either. I'll say this one thing and then I'll kick it over to Luke. I don't think Stacey Abrams will win, but I learned a long time ago, never underestimate the stupidity of people in large groups.
Yes, I agree. That's why we're a small group.
That's why we got rid of Roger. No offense, Roger. I know he's still listed. So
3's a company, 4's a crowd.
That's right. So I'm looking at this race. I think it's a 34th congressional district in Texas. That's down at the border. You had Gonzalez versus the young upstart Republican Myra Flores. And it looks like Flores is probably not going to win that one, but she did get a good percentage of the vote. Last I saw it was like 44%, which down there close to the border is unheard of.
Right.
So I think that is a good sign. I see that as a long-term good sign, and that the Democrat Party just can't count on racial voting blocks anymore. I think we talked about it earlier about, you know, Hispanic voting blocks being real big on family values, you know, real big on a lot of the things that the liberal party, I'm not even called the Democrat Party, the AOC party doesn't put a whole lot of value in. So I think we're seeing down in those what used to be deep blue districts in South Texas are starting to turn purple. And I really like these young upstart Hispanic Republicans really taking the reins and taking control and being proud and, you know, representing what conservatives really do stand for. So although Myra Flores looks like she's not going to win that one, I'm really proud of her and all the people that supported her down there. And I hope that that's a trend that we see more. Hope it becomes more like Florida,
right.
You know, and I think that's a trend we're going to see. And I think that's really going to define things over the next couple of decades, really.
Yeah. I hope Florida here, my concern with Florida, and Florida's my home state. You know, you take a look at Broward County, Dade County, Southern Florida. You know, a lot of the conservative Hispanics that are, you know, down there. Not all, but I would say, you know, a large number are all folks who came. You know, they're all Cubans of Cuban heritage, and they lived under Castro. They know what communism truly is. They're aging out. You know, you come 2024, that's going to be the last election for quite a few of them. And I know, and this is purely anecdotal, but, you know, I know some folks, you know, our age and a little bit younger, you know, who's, you know, those are their grandparents and their parents and stuff. and they don't hold those same, they don't hold those same values, that their parents and grandparents do, because they grew up here. They had it easy. They grew up in the land of milk and honey, and they didn't have to live under Castro and live under communism. And so I think the GOP is really, if they really want to make Hispanics a large part of their voting bloc, which they should, they're really going to have to dig in and appeal to them. They're going to have to figure out ways to appeal to them and win them over, because just like Democrats can't count on the racial voting blocks, the GOP can't do that either and just ignore them, and just say, oh well, they'll vote for us again because they don't like the other guy. That's not going to be the case.
Well, I really believe that it's going to become the Hispanic Party. I really believe that. I mean, look who we got already. Just based on last names. Rubio, Cruz, Flores. Go down the list. Even though I'm not a big fan of Ted Cruz, I believe the GOP is eventually. It may not even be called the GOP anymore. It'll become a predominantly Hispanic party. I mean, I'm talking like 10, 20 years down the line. Because we got Venezuelans now. Maduro is the new guy, and we got the modern day Muriel boat lift with Venezuelans coming over here instead of Cubans, because they are fleeing that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I saw John Kerry shaking Maduro's hand. I don't know. He probably flew over there on his private plane.
I don't know. Are there any Hispanics in Louisiana? I'm not sure.
Yes, a lot.
I'm joking. I know that.
But now, hey, on a different note, I was thinking about that while listening to you guys with the party stuff. I'm looking at the numbers right here, and I want to get your intake on this. So Walker has 1,533,000 votes, give or take. Warnock has 1,536. It's going up and down. Brian Kemp has 1,696,000. What? So this is okay. I go into a voting booth. I'm going to vote for the governor. If it's a Republican, I'm probably going to vote for the Senate candidate that's also a Republican. What are y'all thinking about it? How can somebody go in there and say, I'm going to vote for the governor Republican, but I'm going to vote for a Democrat senator?
Yeah, it's just a split ticket thing, man. That's tough. That's one thing I can't figure out. Maybe Josh can shed some light on that. But what's interesting, Isaac, is if you look at the Vermont returns, it's kind of crazy, because you have the Senate race is completely opposite of the governor's race, which is a total split ticket vote, which the average voter, I think it's Vermont, that the average voter is like the three of us. I think it's like, well, yeah, it's the Republican governor and the Republican senator, But Josh, I mean, do you have some insight on that? Split ticket, because the split ticket phenomenon, I'll call it a phenomenon, is an interesting thing, because we'll just look at the straight numbers, 1,600,000, whatever Isaac quoted. And then, but you look at Walker and so on and so forth.
Look at Vermont. I get what Roger, what Luke's saying. So Scott won the governor's race. Yay, he's the governor. But then you have Welch that won the Senate race. And I'm just like, how do you go into the ballot saying, oh, I'm going to vote for Scott, but I really don't like Millie, so I'm going to go ahead and vote for Welch.
Yeah, I don't understand the thought process behind that, because North Carolina basically did the same thing, last cycle. So North Carolina voted Roy Cooper into office as governor, and Roy Cooper he's a blue dog Democrat. I mean, he is a Democrat, as Democrat as they come. But North Carolina turned around and voted in 2 Republican senators. And yeah, you look at it, I don't understand why. I truly don't. Because, like most of us, when you go in there, especially when you're talking, governor, House of Representatives and the Senate, most people are going to vote party, right? Those 3, I'm going to vote, for my party, those three, to go in and say, okay, well, I'll vote for a Democrat for the House, and I'm going to vote for a GOP guy for the Senate, and then and then flip a coin for the governor. It doesn't make sense to me. For sure. So I don't know why. I don't know, why that phenomenon is. But we're starting to see it a little bit more, and maybe part of it is also because people are tired of voting party line all the way down down ballot. Or maybe they're not. Roger had, and I can't remember it because I've been hitting the head too many times. Roger had a couple of good talking points on this about why this is. Yeah, going to the comments, Braylon. I'll take a look at the Kennedy Chambers race.
It's on the screen right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Kennedy, yeah, he's running away with it. That's not even close.
That's not, and Chambers is known because he made a YouTube video of burning a rebel flag and saying how we need to get racists out of Washington like John Kennedy. Of course, they go to the race car. But now I want to say this. Look at the screen right there. I wish I could zoom it in a little more. No, I can't do it. Our congressman, Letlow, is at 50 points. Graves is the Democrat. He's winning. No, Carter in LA2 is the Democratic incumbent. He's winning. But Solis, Carter, Higgins, Letlow, Graves, they all blowing it out the water, man. Higgins is up by 50 points in his race right here against Haggett ain't even coming up. LeBlanc is the second Democrat who's winning right now. It's our congressman. All our congressmen are going to stay the same here in Louisiana. But Kennedy's there for 6 more years.
Yeah. Well, Kennedy.
Fox News didn't call it, but I call it the Cajun conservative. Kennedy won.
Yeah. Kennedy had my favorite campaign commercial of this election season.
I can guess the crack comment, huh?
Yes, he was like, you don't want to support the police? That's fine. Next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. That was
Luke,
the best. That was the best commercial.
You didn't see that at all.
I did not see that.
Oh man,
you got to go.
You got to send me the link.
Yeah, it's good. So we're starting to get the first numbers in from Arizona. Kelly is up on Masters. So there's 37% of the vote. Kelly is up on Masters, 56 to 41%. And with 37% of the vote in, Hobbs is up on Kerry Lake, 55% to 44%.
That's early numbers.
It's early numbers. It's the first tranche. And like Damon typed out in the comments, Vance is steadily opening up his lead on Ryan.
Brian Kemp is also is opening up his gap in Georgia as well. Well, we've been discussing that for a little while now.
So one thing that's kind of interesting, I kind of looked into today was y'all familiar with the Katy Perry, right?
Right.
The music star. So she came out and she endorsed for LA Mayor Rick Caruso. And I was like, oh Lord, what do we got now? So I look up Rick Caruso, who's a Democrat. But I look up Rick Caruso. He is what Josh would call a dino. He's a Democrat in name only. This dude is straight up Republican, but he has to run as a Democrat because
to get the
LA.
votes.
Yeah, and it's like you got Katy Perry, dyed in the wool. That's as liberal as it gets, endorsing this guy. And the reason Katy Perry gave was because LA is a mess. It's a big mess, and we need somebody who's a businessman, real estate developer to fix it.
Right.
Now, my point behind that is, he's still a Democrat, but you can see the winds are kind of changing here because you mentioned it earlier, Isaac. What are the big issues that people are voting on? Number one is the economy. Is the economy stupid? It's inflation. That's what it is. But I'd say a close third to the economy and inflation, which kind of go hand in hand, is crime. I mean, crime's bad everywhere. Louisiana, Texas, North Carolina. We've all got our issues with crime. LA, you got the crime, the homelessness, those two go hand in hand. But you're starting to see a shift here. And you know what? I'll go with an old school, blue dog Democrat, like before, that's better than AOC.
Right.
That's
yeah.
better than Ilhan Omar.
Well, because the older Democrats are more conservative. I talk about my grandfather that he passed away in 2003. I was young, but we lost Josh. We lost Josh. Oh no, it must have been past his bedtime. Nah, but the old dogs Democrats that you was talking about. My grandfather he passed away in 2003, but Democrat to the core. He was Democrat. He made sure that he voted Democrat. But my grandfather was a conservative. He would go ahead and go and look. There we got Josh back. We got Josh back right there. There you go. There we got Josh
thank
back.
goodness.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, that's all good. But yeah, but my grandfather was conservative, and that's I would take that over, like you said, AOC.
Yeah, it's just an interesting phenomenon. I think we're going to start to see some changes, just overall. I think we're living through the changes right now. This election, we'll see how it goes. But Isaac, you're a young man. I don't know if you remember 2010 and that midterm election, how that one went.
Yeah, I remember that. That was that's when I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I just started voting. I was about to start voting.
That was this one kind of reminds me of that year a little bit.
Yeah.
So Josh, you just said that who called Kemp for Georgia?
Yeah. So they just it just got posted. It looked like Politico just called Georgia for Brian Kemp.
Political. Okay.
Yeah. So it looks like Kemp will beat Stacey Abrams, take the governorship of Georgia.
And it goes back to my question though, man. So he wins 53%. Fox News is probably going to call it pretty soon. How isn't Walker at 53%? You get what I'm saying? Come on, people in Georgia, man.
Yeah, and Kemp tried to bring him along a little bit, and I think some of these Senate races, this wasn't only one, or it's kind of like riding on that governor popularity. I'll throw in Blake Masters, kind of drafting Carrie Lake a little bit, across the finish line. Hopefully, she can pull him through. Hopefully, she pulls through, which I think she will. Based on everything we saw. To go back to one thing I do want to point out on Luke's comment about Katy Perry. Katy Perry wasn't the only one either. The Kardashians came out and endorsed Caruso. And I can't believe I'm sitting here talking about the Kardashians.
Me neither.
On election night. But the Kardashians back Caruso, Gwyneth Paltrow, Snoop Dogg, Elon Musk. A number of folks came out and back Caruso, and it was. I think Luke is spot on, and again, that kills me to say it publicly, but but I think Luke he's spot on. We are in there's a change in the wind, and I think you're seeing a lot of folks. They understand that people drifted too far to the left, and there's some people that drifted way too far to the right. Because you go back and you look at the Democrats, I would take hands down. I would take a Joe Manchin over AOC without question.
Yeah,
because Joe Manchin is one of the few. I'd say one of the very, very few, if not the only, moderate Democrat. In the Senate. So and then there's probably even fewer in the House.
So on Michigan's governor's race, Whitmore and Dixon, it's looking like it's getting tight. It's still 51-46, but I think that's going to be, if we can pick up that governorship in Michigan, that's going to be good for us right there. And I'm going to Arizona right now. 37% is in, and Carrie Lake is still there. I'm surprised Hobbs is still winning. But we're probably going to have to figure out what it's I'm gonna go look at the state right there to see if we can find some more information on the number.
Well, you still got looking at Arizona and Kelly and Masters and Hobbs and Lake. You've only got one county, or I'm sorry, one district that's all reported, and it went to Masters, and that's La Paz over on the west side, and that's just north of Yuma. It looks like. If my memory serves me correctly, Roger, who's he tells everybody he's our tech guru. He does all our tech stuff. He couldn't he couldn't figure out how to stay connected tonight because he's on the road and his Starlink. His Starlink wasn't good enough, and I hope Roger's listening because I'm going to talk some junk about his or some yang, as Luke puts it, about his Starlink. Roger's sitting in the cab of his truck getting rained on his cell phone, trying to do this. Like, come on, man. Yeah. So Arizona, there's a lot. It's still early reporting. There's still only 37% of the vote is in.
Yeah, on the Senate side, they only have LaPlace, like you said, it with the Masters, and that's the same thing. It went to Carrie Lake, but there's still a lot of numbers coming in too. So
yeah, so you still got
this Arizona race raises a question. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Josh.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so Christian Sinema is kind of a moderate. Then you have Kelly that was posing as a moderate, but really isn't really a moderate. And he's more left than anything. If Masters would pull this off in the Senate, and do you think Christian Sinema will go more to the right to try to keep her spot like Joe Manchin did in West Virginia?
That's a tough one. That's a good question.
Because could you think about it, though? You could look, okay, Kelly and Sinema. Sinema was more the right candidate, and they're like, man, but it's two Democrats, and we could get, but now you got Republicans and Democrat, and it looks like Masters is going to pull something off, and the state's going more red. Christian Sinema has to go more conservative.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I could tell he wants me to answer because it's a tough question. I don't know. I mean, I could almost see it both ways. I mean, I don't know. Sinema is like one of those dark horses that I'm not sure about her. I like the stand that she made earlier, but she did cave on the what was it? The Inflation Reduction.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, also Manchin did as well. So.
Yes, he did eventually. That's right. But, I could see after this the Democrats in the Senate really circling the wagons and dangling whatever piece of red meat they need to in front of her face like they did with Manchin to get her to side with them. The logic sides with you, Isaac, that, to keep that seat, you got to lean more to the right. But I don't know. I could see it really going both ways because, man, those dirty tricks that those politicians play and, dangling that red meat in front of each other's faces can go a long way. Right. I mean, Josh, I tend to lean more toward your analysis, Isaac, that she might have to go more right. But, man, I don't know. Josh, what do you think?
So that's a great question. I think it really – I think it plays. I think a large part of it is going to be how does tonight end up? Finally, what is what's the body count after today is said and done? Because I think what you're going to see, the Democrats are going to have to step back and do a damage assessment and say, okay, for us to position ourselves, we have 24 months, a little less than 24 months. To really figure out how we're going to win in 2024. They're in a real pickle. They have a very unpopular president and even more unpopular vice president. They know they can't trot him out in 2024 because of what is happening right now. They can't do it because this is a referendum on this is a referendum on Biden, hands down, and. So I think you're going to see Democrats like Sinema. I think they are going to have to tack a little to the right, especially in states like Arizona. If Lake wins, Masters wins, it's the writing's on the wall at that point. Sinema has to tack a little bit more to the right and go with the state vice her party because at the end of the day, everybody, it's only the people in the state that matter. And if You know, she's got to distance herself from Joe Biden. She has to. She has to distance herself from Joe Biden and Mark Kelly and the rest of the radical Democrats. And I think she keeps aligning herself with the Joe Manchin. Then maybe she'll be okay in 2024. But right now, the Democrats have to be saying to themselves, what happened and how do we fix this in 24 months? And I don't think they can.
No, they can't. They can't. I don't think they can.
So the real question is, how quick do they turn on Joe Biden?
Oh,
After tonight.
Joe Biden, they're going to throw Joe Biden on the side of the road by Monday. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I think they've kind of been setting that up. Isaac, what do you think? I mean, do you think they're going to just turn their back on Joe Biden and just, is it Gavin Newsom or what's going to happen there?
Well, I see Gavin Newsom getting ready for a 2024 run. He can say whatever he does have an election tonight as well, and he has not campaigned in the state. He's campaigned all over the country for Democrats, basically. But he's showing himself as a national presence. And to be honest with you, like Andrew Cuomo, they were trying to do the same thing with Andrew Cuomo, and Andrew Cuomo, with his scandal, well, that's it, it's done. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't do it. So I see Gavin Newsom trying to go a national election. I still believe Biden will resign before his term is up, because we already see how he is. He's not all there. I'm sorry, it's just that's obvious. And I do see Kamala Harris, and you got to realize too, the Democrats have a lot more in play than what they think. Because if they go ahead and get rid of Joe Biden, well, guess who becomes the first female president of the United States? A Democrat. They can hold that. Well, we're a party of diversity. We gave the first woman the chance to be the president of the United States. And then it goes on from there to 2024 if they want her to stay or what.
So do you know how that works? So because I don't, I have to look it up, but if Joe Biden resigned, now you've got President Kamala Harris. How is the vice president? How is that picked? Do you guys know?
I kind of know a little bit of it. So it goes to the House of Representatives. It won't be Nancy Pelosi because she's third in line. A president don't have to have a vice president if that happens, but she will go ahead and appoint somebody, and they'll go through committees, and they'll go through to hearings and stuff like that, and they have to be voted on. I think for sure the House. I don't know about the Senate.
That's interesting. That would be very interesting if that happened, to see how that played out.
It all depends on the night too. Okay, Kamala Harris becomes the president. Will the Republicans give her the vice president they want if they take over the House of Representatives? Because I was just thinking about, well, they could probably try to bring Gavin Newsom, but you have to be approved by the Congress. And you know the Republicans ain't going to vote in Gavin Newsom for dog catcher.
Yeah. I don't. Here's the other thing. Here's a wrinkle for that. I don't think the Democrats trot Kamala Harris out there. I don't think they do that, because as crazy as it sounds, Kamala Harris is more unlikable than Joe Biden. At least Joe Biden, you can kind of feel a little bit of empathy for, right? You're like, I kind of feel a little bit of empathy for the guy being trotted out there when he doesn't know what day it is. He poops his pants, and he just walks around eating ice cream every other day. Like, that's, Kamala Harris. Nobody feels any level of empathy or sympathy for Kamala Harris, and the Democrats know that she's widely unpopular. She's probably about as unpopular as Hillary Clinton, and they know that they trot her out there in 2024, they're absolutely going to get destroyed. And Damon in the comments, Newsom. I think Newsom is probably the best one they got, unless they try and trot like Mayor Pete out there when he's not when he's not breastfeeding his kid.
You thought about Buddha cheese? He lies so much he's full of hole.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be somebody like them. Another one would be somebody maybe like a Val Demings, maybe out of Florida, but she just got crushed by Rubio. They don't have a lot of good options, and I don't think I don't think they trot Kamala Harris out there because she's absolutely not a good option, but that presents a conundrum for them because, they can't get rid of Joe Biden, right? Hey, man, you got to resign. You got to do something. You got to go. If he doesn't get impeached and removed, if we have, a majority in the Senate, that would be nice.
Right.
But they also can't not put up Kamala Harris because if they turn around and Joe Biden, resigns and leaves the Oval Office and they go ahead and they, shoo Kamala off to the side, they'll be eviscerated, for keeping the first, woman of color, from becoming president. I mean, it would be an absolute, an absolute dumpster fire. So they don't have the Democrats don't have good choices. They are in a real pickle for 2024. Like they are not in a good spot.
They don't have nobody because you can maybe mention a word like Cory Booker maybe or something like, but they're all bad. They're just bad candidates on the Democrats side. The Republicans gotta, my favorite team won the World Series, the Astros, and you can see what a good bullpen does. If you have a good bullpen, you win the World Series. If you don't, well, you like feeling you left in the back. And that's what I feel with the Democrat Party right now. There's nobody in the bullpen. Their closer throws a 2 miles an hour fastball. It's horrible. On that. So.
Well, they were put in a bad position. So they were put in a bad position in 2016 because they were sure that Hillary Clinton was going to win. They were positive Hillary Clinton was going to win. They're like, all right, so that's going to give us 4 years. Then they were like, well, she'll probably wind up, because incumbents are generally hard to beat. She's going to wind up and Hillary Clinton's going to do 8 years. And we've got a minimum of 4 years and probably 8 to, groom, teach, coach, mentor, and, get a couple, viable candidates in place, come 2024. And Trump came in and Trump messed that all up, right? He turned the monopoly board over, and now they're like, well, they had to trot Joe Biden out there, and my Lord, when you're down to Joe Biden as your best candidate, like Joe Biden's your guy, that's what you're
You're in trouble. You're in trouble.
You're hitching your cart to Joe Biden. All right, man, you're in really bad shape, and you don't, like you said, you don't have anybody in the bullpen. They don't have a viable candidate to come out in 2024 and beat a Ron DeSantis or beat a Donald Trump. They don't have one. And they're not going to get one in 24 months.
Do y'all even remember Hillary Clinton's running mate in 2016?
Tim Kaine.
It was Tim Kaine.
There you go, Tim Kaine. So
he was terrible.
Like, terrible. I can see. I don't know. I don't know if the Democrats, Roger and I go back and forth on this. I don't know if the Democrats are hoping that they can convince Michelle Obama to run or Oprah or somebody like that. But that's it. That's all they've got. I mean, yeah, Damon's got a good point. I mean, Newsom's record is just awful.
Yeah.
But hey, he's a good-looking guy. I guess he's got that going for him.
Well, and he just brought out a good point, Damon. Good, thank you. Congratulations to Sarah Huckabee Sanders on becoming the first woman governor in Arkansas history. That's a milestone, man.
Good on her.
So, well, guys, I want to ask a question for a minute. We're gonna go ahead and get the guy that appropriate. If you want to stay around, he's gonna come and you can maybe ask him some questions. He is third right now, and it looks like he would not make the runoff. If you don't mind, let's go ahead and get him on the show. You can meet him and talk to him and see how he does. So, Rodney, you want to come on for a second? Or?
Give me a second.
Okay, he said 1 second. One.
Wait. What
Nah, we're just going to talk to you for a second. If you, So, we're going to have to share this and see if it's loud enough. All right, I got to do some setup. So, Josh and Roger, this is Rodney Chitwood. He was running for chief of police of Roe Bridge. So, Rodney, we heard it ain't a good night for you right now.
No, it's not. It's the first time I've ever run for office. Learn a lot of stuff. The first time.
So did they give you the official results or what?
No, nothing official has come out yet. If you look at what has come out so far.
Let me go ahead and put it on the screen right here. We got it right here.
Oh, you got it.
I'll
Come
put
out
it,
so far. I think I'm only 11%.
so he is the chief of police of City of Breaux Bridge, guys. So it's not official yet.
No, it's not official. 2 of the 6 precincts recorded 100% of the early voting absentee voters. But I mean, when you look at numbers that large, if my numbers were really in the 20 percentile, I may have a chance to make a runoff. But I don't know.
You don't know.
Never run
You know.
before, so I'm just waiting.
We gotta pray about it. So guys, y'all see the numbers right there. There was a 3-way race. Rodney came in pretty late. What y'all think? What you think about the numbers?
Having a hard time seeing the numbers there on my screen. Josh, can you see them any better?
No, not really. They're a little hard to see, and I know you can't zoom in.
So I'd be interested. Hey, Rodney, what made you decide to throw your hat in the ring there?
You know, it was July 15th was my youngest son's birthday, and we were all out at this lake house, and I'm griping about politics. And my children, they're adult children. They said, "Dad, why don't you do something about it instead of complaining about it?" And that just sat on me all weekend long. And so I made a few phone calls that weekend, get their input on what they would recommend. And I went down, 4 days later, and qualified to run. So even getting into this race, I was behind the 8 ball. I have not been planning to run. You got the guy that's in the lead. He's got the major political backing of our city. And the other guy, he knew for quite some time he was going to run. I knew he was going to run since January. So he's had time to get out and build this up. So the fact that I was working a full-time job, I'd go out 2 hours every day after work and on Saturdays. And for a person that's, I've been in and out of this community since '82, but I don't have a name recognition. You go out and ask the average person who I am, they don't know. I am pleased with the numbers. I wish it would have been better. Of course, I wish it would be in the 55 percentile.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I really admire what you did. I mean, it's like was it Roosevelt? He said it's the man who's in the ring who deserves all the credit. It's the person outside who's going to say, "Oh, well, he only got this percentage of the vote," but you actually put your hat in the ring and you decide to run. And one of the reasons I'm really intrigued by your run is someday I'd like to run for a sheriff of a small county in Texas, and I know that's a huge thing. And although we don't, police chiefs are usually appointed in Texas. I don't know if many of them have to run for it. Like, I guess a question I want to ask you is, like, what's the most valuable lesson you learned? Like, because I would encourage you to do it again because your name got out there. Now people are going to know your name. They've seen it before. So if you're going to do this again, like, what's a lesson you learned most valuable that you could either improve on or you wouldn't do, or so on and so forth?
I think probably spending more time beforehand. I was waiting until my push cards came in before I really went out and started knocking on doors. So they didn't come in until towards the end of August. So September, October, not 2 months is what I did. Knocked on about 1,000 doors during those 2 months. But I think if I wanted to run again, getting involved with a lot of the local organizations, the civic clubs, getting your name out that way, because that spreads quickly, and being more involved in the community itself.
So we just got to update, guys. It looks like all the precincts are in, all the stuff's in, and Buzz did not get 51%. So that means Buzz LeBlanc and Hubert Aguilar will be going into a runoff most likely. because you have to have 50% plus one. So it looks like, Rodney, you fell short this time. You got 11% of the vote. I don't know if this would be you conceding or what you're, because I would like to ask you. Well, we're going to ask you that later on. Who would you consider as a voter now? You want to wait a few minutes, a little while, or?
I really don't know the answer to that.
I'm putting him in a spot. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, man, you put him on the spot.
Yeah.
You could a winning speech is easy to do. When you lose a race and people ask you on something like that, who would you endorse or ask the other voters put their vote behind it? I really believe, and it's the same throughout all of Louisiana. We have a good old voice system in politics in Louisiana. That is the same thing that is happening right now in our city. Will he succeed if Buzz was to win? Succeed as a coach? Yeah, because I think the sheriff is going to back him. I think he had the support of the mayor, so his budget shouldn't be an issue. And so I think between that, he'll do a pretty good job. When I look at between the candidates that can look ahead because our city's growing, it's going to continue to grow. The candidates that can look ahead, honestly, I don't know where my confidence is.
Yeah.
That's not because I haven't thought about this. I honestly do not know who I'd want to vote. Because I think it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at who I think out of the candidates that will be able to work well with the sheriff and get the sheriff's support and not have to worry about budget, it would be Buzz McGuire.
Yeah. So, Rodney, knowing what you know now, and the lessons learned from this campaign, are you going to run again?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Boy, he's a politician already, folks.
I know. I love it.
I tell you, it's something I have thought about. Of course, when I was projecting and look at these numbers, I was like, I'm not going to win them. People were like, oh, but you learned a lot this time. You can run again. I spent probably 95% of my own money on this campaign, and
oh wow.
If I was to ever run again, I think a good indication would be if people step up and pay for the needs in the campaign. But I honestly don't know if I would run in 4 years. The only way I wouldn't, I hope the new chief succeeds. And if he succeeds, there's no reason for me to run. The reason I was running is because I care about our city.
Yeah, no, and that's and that's what's important, right? Because at the end of the day, we're running to serve, serve the community, and that's absolutely the the right attitude. I know, Isaac kind of turned us on to your campaign early on. And we followed you on Facebook, from our podcast, and we hate that you didn't win, but at least now you can tell your kids, you're like, hey, I put some skin in the game, and then tell them, hey, now it's your turn. You guys get out there and run.
Well, honestly, that's what we need to do. I'm really hoping that I would consider myself as an outsider, even though I've been in the area since '82. And one thing I realized going door to door, we have a lot of people that aren't family related have moved into our city. And I'm really hoping that maybe this will stir them up to get in there and try. You don't have to be on that inside to get out here and find a rough office.
So on another note, we all get talking about the campaign. Have you been following the federal, or I know?
No, I haven't. I've been looking local at a few of our other, Kennedy, Higgins for Senate, Congress. I've been looking at the mayor and some of the other teams.
I'm going to say this. I don't think Haggett had it tonight. Kennedy blew him out the water. So.
Clay Higgins.
No, Haggett was running, and he said, "I'm the only one that can beat Higgins." Well, no.
No.
Haggett couldn't hold on to it.
No.
Hey, never mind. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that on there. Anyway, so Rodney, congratulations on the race. You know, not
Well, I appreciate
you know, for running and you know, putting your nose into it. And
Yeah.
with BJ's meeting, we're glad to help you out anytime. You know?
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate all that you've helped to do on giving all of us a voice. And I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and go to Match Pro Shop.
That's right.
Get ready to go do
I
some
love
business.
it.
Luke, you said you're in Midland. You know, you can get away a little while. He might buy you something.
That's right, man. Come on down to Permian Basin, man. We'll hook you up.
Actually, the lake house we were at was up in Onalaska, Texas.
Where is it?
Onalaska.
Oh, okay.
I guess
Yeah.
Beaumont, and then sort of northwest a little bit.
Okay, Rodney,
All right.
we just started something. Luke, you look your first campaign slogan. There you go.
I love it. I love it.
Woo!
Rodney, thank you, man.
All right,
And look,
appreciate
you had a good night tonight.
Congrats,
Boys are
Rodney.
jealous, man.
Hey, thanks, Rodney.
Proud of you.
Oh, we have some really good food. Yeah, you won't walk away.
Proud of you. Hope to meet you face to face one of these days.
Yep.
All right, my brother. You take care.
You
All right,
too.
have a good one.
God bless.
All right, guys.
Hey, now Isaac, did he have a law enforcement background? I didn't even get to ask him.
Yes, he was in the military police, and he Rodney, you were in the military police, and what was the other?
I did. I was an honor graduate of the Air Force Police Academy and awarded Best in Air Force 2 years in a row. And then I did 8 years of insurance fraud investigation.
Okay.
And then I was our
Okay.
crisis management director for our mission when I was overseas.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That's kind of the experience I bring into that side, and I think just as important, managing three
Oh,
different
absolutely.
companies successfully.
Yep.
And bringing that into it.
You working on your fourth?
Company?
Yeah.
I will be now.
You said I gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, those bills are going to show up January.
Yep.
Thank you, Rodney. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, Rodney.
So yeah, so not the result. It was, like I said, it was a campaign party tonight, not a victory party, unfortunately. But I still enjoy the food, so hey, you know, I can't stop talking about the food. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
well, guys, we are only about y'all were supposed to only be from 8 to 9, but man,
Yeah, I know, man.
we having fun.
We overstayed our welcome.
No,
Yeah.
I know. No, hey, y'all the guests that you know. I like y'all to stay at my house. You know?
Yeah.
So, JD Vance, I don't know why they have not called this race yet, but he is winning by 8 points. Featherman's lead has went down to 2.5 points. Walker is up by a point, give or take, and Hassan is still at 12 points. Bud is 4 points. Kelly is up 18 points. I don't know how the numbers are putting up on Kelly and Masters. They must be counting pretty slow there in Arizona. Where's Roger when we need him?
Right. Right. So Roger is that typical Army Sergeant Major when there's actual work to be done and everything. He's never around. So that's Roger. It's always the always the warrant officers who are left to do all the work, right, Luke?
That's right. You know, so Damon, that's funny. He said Loving County Sheriff. So Loving County is the least populated county in the state of Texas. I think there's like 150 people in Loving County. It's right out it's right on the border of New Mexico. But interesting factoid for you people out there is that in 2019 and 2020,
Hey, I need more, bro.
according to the U.S. Census, Loving County grew by 300% in population. Now, granted, that
Somebody had twins.
yeah, exactly. It's like, well, what does that mean? You know what? Yeah, somebody have twins. So yeah, Loving County. Boy, oh boy, Damon knew what he was talking about when he said Loving County. Holy cow!
I love
But
it.
I'll tell you what, I really admire Rodney for throwing his hat in like that. That's something to put yourself out there, and that's a risk to take when you run for public office, because the minute you become a threat to someone who is in that good old boys network, who might have a little bit of power, man, they might they might
Right.
try everything just to tear you down. And man, that takes a lot of courage. So man, good on him. He got nothing to be ashamed of.
No.
All right, and like I say, first he's a pastor as well, so that's how we got acquainted. Being a pastor and being a youth pastor, we got together. And I've been knowing him for years. And when he threw his hat in the ring, I gave him an opportunity, and he took it. I'm going to say this about the candidates. He was the only candidate to go ahead and stand up in front of the media and talk about his vision. So, at least he went out there and he did that. We're going to have to see on the runoff because, you got 50%. I'm going to be honest with you. I know Buzz. I bet Buzz is flaring a little bit because he just couldn't get that 1% more. If he could have got that 1% more, it would have been, he would have been the chief of police tonight. But now we got to wait a whole month until the next election in December.
Yeah.
So, but on that note, guys, so we only got about 8 minutes left on my time for tonight. We won't see Nevada. I was hoping we would have been able to be like the big main medias that was like, yeah, the house is for the going to the Republicans, but it's still a long night away, guys. I'm gonna throw up the last numbers right here on the screen just for the night. And I asked Iggy that when Iggy was on with us. Right now, there's 17 seats that are still up for grab. There's not a lot of numbers in the Kelly race yet. We don't know about Kelly in Arizona. It looks like Vance. Let's say it like this: Culper Canteen Cup and the Cajun Conservative has predicted that Vance is probably going to win Ohio. Luke, can you confirm that? Josh, can you confirm that? This is our decision, guys.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Culver's Canteen Cup, Vance we are calling Ohio for Vance because this is almost like Florida in 2020, right? So 86% of the votes are in Ohio. Vance is up 7 points, almost 7 points, and they still have not called it.
That's
This is Florida. This is Florida 2020. It was like, hey, Trump is up double digits in Florida with, like 95, 96% of the vote in. And they're like, well, we don't know. We don't know. It's like, no, call it for the man. Call it.
Man, I don't know, bro. It just, they need to call that race. I see Vance winning. Featherman is up by 2 points. His lead is slowly deteriorating. Walker's, thank goodness Walker's up, but guys, we got a long night. I don't know how, are y'all going to stay up for the rest of the night watching this or what? Are we going to be getting text messages all night or what?
Yeah, I'll probably stay up a couple more hours. Josh probably will too, as much as he's going to try to fight it. I know he's just ate up with this stuff, so I don't know if he'll probably lay in bed and outsider from Iowa calling it for Vance. That's right.
I love it. Yeah.
So it's a unanimous decision. He took Roger's spot to vote.
That's right.
That's it.
So I'll probably stay up a little while and watch it. I'm just waiting for some pipes to burst somewhere and voting to stop or counting to stop. That is. I guess almost all the polling are closed, at least at 7 minutes. They will be on the West Coast, I think. I mean, just about everything is closed, right?
I'm going to see if I can find well, except California and them still, which is they're about to close their polls in like 5 minutes. So I think that's really it. It's just the West Coast. Nevada, it still needs to be. The next polls close in 6 minutes, according to Fox News.
I'll ask one question, and this is one you could probably spend an hour on, Isaac. Let's say that there is somewhat of a wave or even a red tide. Do you think anything is going to change? And if so, what do you think will change? Will things get better and how?
Well, it's hard to say, okay? Because you get to stop President Biden in his agenda if it's a big wave like we're thinking. But the problem would it be is he already said if they want to pass something, guess what? I'm going to veto it. So it's really going to be for the next 2 years, just not a lame duck president, a lame duck session. And so now you got to come. Bill Clinton, basically, you mentioned him in the 1994s, where he had to work with the Republicans. For the 2 years, Biden has been a bully. Biden has been saying, they call Trump a bully, but Biden has been doing the exact same thing. Look, it's my way or the highway. Well, guess what? Now you can't say that. He says it's my way, and the Republicans say, nope, it's no way. So, what will change? I don't know, to be honest with you. We can stop. At least the spending will stop. Hopefully, we can bring our inflation and down, bring the economy up. But any big significant legislation, Biden is just going to say, no, I'm not gonna. I'm just going to veto it, and then we're going to be in trouble again. So until 2024, hopefully, when Ron DeSantis goes ahead and says, I'm going to run, and Trump be like, hey, I'm just going to support him, that would be the best scenario. That would be the only thing I could see. And when we get a new president in 2024, hopefully in there, we can see what happened. I want to shout out to Lauren. Lauren, how you doing? Welcome to the live stream. Glad to have you.
I want to say this real quick. I want to answer Luke's question as well. If the GOP wants to survive as a party, they have to change. They have to do something. They can't come in and say, and we go back and forth about this too. They can't come in and say, well, we're going to take the high road. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. No, they have to change. They have to change, and they have to accept the fact that they're in a knife fight. They're in a back alley knife fight. This is not Chatham House rules out on a sunny meadow on a Sunday afternoon anymore. And they're going to have to change to survive as a party, because the JD Vances and the new blood that's coming in, they're not going to tolerate the Mitch McConnells, the pandering, the Lindsey Graham, the fist bump that Lindsey Graham gave Kamala Harris during the Brett Kavanaugh hearing and one of the breaks that we all saw on TV. That right there, that has to change if they want to survive as a party, because it's just you can't have that anymore. You just can't do it.
Breaking news: Grosley in Iowa has won that race in there, so he is the senator that's going to stay. So Grosley is staying the senator of Iowa. So yay! But I agree with you, Josh. They need a change. Something needs to change to get the faith in the American people back. That's basically what they need to do. They need to do something to get the American people's faith back into what they're doing.
So I'll give a quick Culper's Canteen Cup analysis here, and this is free for all the Cajun conservative listeners. What the Republicans got to be careful about, and when I say careful, I'm talking political careful, is the Ukraine funding trap. Because as soon as the Republicans are like, wait, we need to start thinking about all this money we're sending to Ukraine, they're going to start. The other side's going to start calling them Putin lovers and Russia.
Yep.
That's a trap that they're going to fall into. And you mark my words, here and now, it is going to happen.
So we had Damon. This is a quote on this. He says Trump would not do that. I agree. And but he said DeSantis is the path forward for the country. We have Lauren. I love the comments, guys. We're starting to get all kind of. Well, that ain't going on there.
Yeah. Well, what is that? What kind
Somebody hacked me.
What kind of live stream is this?
Audience, you don't need to see it. Anyway, there can be no compromise or playing nice. Agree with you on Lauren.
I agree, Lauren.
And then Ronald Stilgov here too. So we got some big races, guys. And look, the next polls are closing in 30 seconds, according to Fox News. That's California, Oregon, Idaho, and Washington. So we're still waiting on a few races to come in here, but guys, hey, that's going to be wrap it up for us tonight, man. That is it is 10 o'clock here in Louisiana. Josh or Roger, go ahead and give a plug out to C3 and where people can find you.
Hey, yep. So you guys, everyone can find us, Culper's Canteen Cup. You can find us on all the social media platforms. You can also reach out to us and find all our blogs, all our podcasts at culperscanteencup.com. We're on there. reach out to us, hit us up, give us a smash that like button and subscribe, and take a listen to us. If you like us, let us know. If you hate us, let us know that too, because we need some haters in our life. We don't have a whole lot of haters, so we need some haters too. So if you don't like us, definitely let us know that.
So I want to give one thing too, Josh. You have more than just that label. I'm just saying you also are an official guest host of the Cajun Conservative. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's
right. He
true.
is.
Yeah.
He is.
So Luke's next, I guess. He don't hold that
I'll be
title
next.
yet.
I'll do it if I can fill those shoes. Thanks, Isaac. We really appreciate coming on.
Yeah,
no
really
problem,
appreciate it,
guys.
Isaac.
Guys, we work together and we fight for freedom, liberty, and justice for all. Amen. So on that note, Josh, Luke, thank y'all for coming. Roger, also thank you for coming on for a little while, But please keep count as producer in training right here. Hey, Josh, this is producer in training. Just telling you.
All right. Thanks,
Hey,
buddy.
we need to get you over to do some of our audio because our audio guy quit on us earlier tonight.
See, he loves his youth pastor so much he's choking me to death. So, all right, I know, guys. Want to thank y'all. And see y'all next time. We'll get together and talk soon.
All right, thanks, Isaac. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
That was Josh and Luke from Culper's Canteen Cup. Guys, our local election here, Brother Rodney Chilwood didn't go the way he won it. But please keep track and keep. We still have. If you're in the Breaux Bridge city limits and you're watching this, you still have a voice to be said in December because it looks like Buzz LeBlanc and Hubert Aguilar will be going into. Run away. Let's see. They declared. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna have to go look at that. So according to local news media, they given Buzz the win. So I thought it was 50+1, or this year's got to hit 50%. Oh, okay. So. Well, congratulations to Buzz LeBlanc, Chief of Police of Breaux Bridge. This is KTC, coming from KTC3, that he is the Chief of Police. Rodney, I'm going to say on live again, thank you for letting us come and have a good time with y'all guys. And until next time, we will be doing this later on in the future. Let's just do a quick tally up before I do wrap it up on the Senate. The Senate is still pretty close. Right now, 45 Democrats, 44 Republicans that have been called winners. The Oregon race has just been called, and no votes are in. I don't know how they're doing that. California is in, and the polls closed at 11, but they closed. They just closed, and California has called their Senate, the Democrat candidate. Nevada is not in yet. They're closed. We have not got the numbers yet. Lee is winning in Utah. Mark Kelly is still holding a lead. It is 50% in there. I want to let's see if we can get the Utah map up. So the blue, we got the big blue areas right here that's going for Kelly. So is that a good sign for Kerry Lake? For a lot of people, got to realize he is winning that race right now. Mark Kelly, still early, only 50%. They have not called the race. Let's go ahead. Oh, zoom out. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and go back to the Senate. Let's go ahead and see this. I want to make sure this to get the last update for tonight, and then we'll go ahead and we shut it down. Yeah, so Texas, Ted Cruz, and John, they don't have no election in Texas. Georgia, Walker is up a half a percentage point. So Walker's still holding lead, but it's still 70% vote. Pennsylvania, Featherman is holding a slight 1% lead in that race. J.D. Vance is not, well, we have called it here at the Cajun Conservative. Vance is the winner of that race. Wyoming, Johnson has been called the winner. Well, he has not been called the winner yet, but he is holding a slight lead against Burns. So, guys, we don't know what's going to happen at the end of the night. But please stay tuned to the Cajun Conservative. We will give you updates as they go along. Remember to listen to the podcast on Thursday. we will have a total election recap. Until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. Remember, Jesus Christ is coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. If you want to know Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, reach out to us at the Cajun Conservative Show, and we would tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and make heaven your eternal home. So until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. You have a good one.